behind Randall Kolo Moani. The referee blows his whistle, and this North Circular derby, live on BBC Radio London, gets underway with Spurs going long. We'll do West Ham in a second. First touch for Gallagher, finds Seymour, who tries to help it into the penalty area, and it's cleared away. It's going to be a free kick actually to West Ham, and there's been a collision here, and it's Gallagher and Pablo, the West Ham player making his first Premier League appearance, and oof, yes, that's a bad clash of heads, and there'll have to be some concussion protocols here, I'm sure. Both of them are being looked at. Gallagher is sitting up, Pablo hasn't moved yet. I'll just do the West Ham lineup for you. Areola in goal, and there's a yellow card for Valentin Castellanos for trying to suggest that there should have been a yellow card.
Good too. That waving of the flag is not, we don't want that, that's not good at all. Let the ref do his job, and you know straight off the bat that's a yellow card. So yeah, he should get a yellow card just for being that stupid. Well,
he has essentially been given a yellow card for being stupid, hasn't he? Because he branded, Jared Gillett, the referee, brandished the yellow card and made that gesture and said, this is this gesture that has got you booked. Gallagher now standing up and being checked. Pablo sitting up and being checked. I was doing the West Ham lineup, wasn't I? Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Mavropanos and Skulls in defence. Souček and Fernandes in the middle. Bowen, Pablo, Philippe, who is being treated, and Somerville behind Valentin Castellanos up front, who has been, as I said, shown a yellow card already. On the bench of Spurs, Kinski, Dragusin, Danso, Bissouma, who hasn't played for Spurs yet this season, Udogi, Bergval, Solanke, Spence and Scarlett. And for West Ham, Hermadsen, Walker-Peters, Kilman, Julio, Wilson, Rodriguez, Potts, Kante and Mayers. Everybody's back up. Everybody looks as though they're okay, which is a huge relief because they did clang together, those two, and they'll both be allowed to come on once all the checks have been made. No Lucas Paquetá for West Ham in the starting 11 or on the bench. He was linked with the move away earlier in the week. Is it possible that we've seen the last of Lucas Paquetá in a West Ham shirt? Game's back underway, and Konstantinos Mavropanos, who has also been suffering with an injury. There was a late fitness test for Matías Fernandes actually as well, which he's managed to pass. Mavropanos has had a neck injury for a little while, but he's fit enough to play today. Max Kilman on the bench. And West Ham, who last won here in December of 2023, crossed the halfway line. Wan-Bissaka back from AFCON. Good challenge by Davies as the ball drops to the feet of Jared Bowen. He scored that day. Davies' leadership qualities, and again we talked about this with Phil Parry during half-time in the Watford-Millwall game, that Tottenham so deprived of leadership in this squad that actually bringing Davies in, maybe he's not as quick as Spence, but what he does offer is those standards and that ability to communicate. Talks, I believe, through games a lot, and some of those less experienced players will find it very helpful, Paul.
He's also a fine defender.
He is, yes, versatile as well. Here's Audebert trying to get down the right. Coming across to deal with it is Jean-Claire Todibo, out of play for a throw-in on that far side of the field. And they've taken it quickly, and here's a cross by Porro into the penalty. Mavropanos gets hold of it. There's a bit of a scramble, and then Tell blazes over from 7 yards. What a chance! He's furious with himself. It dropped to him. He was nicely positioned with just one defender in front of him, and he sent that finish high over the goal frame after a disorganised moment for West Ham at the back. It was a sliced effort by Tell as well, by Audebert rather, and everybody made a bit of a Horlicks of that, Paul Mortimer.
Well, I tell you what that highlights in a snapshot Spurs' problems. There's just a real lack of composure. They just slashed at both of them, and really
yeah, Audebert snatches at his shot as well, you're quite right,
and neither of them worked the goalkeeper, and that's the problem you've got. That was it there for everyone to see. How they're going to put the ball in the back of the net is the problem. Conor Gallagher will give them energy and he will give them impetus and direction, but is he going to put the ball in the net?
Kolo Muani's let this run for Seymour, who is challenged firmly by Konstantinos Mavropanos, the former Arsenal defender, enjoying that challenge against a Tottenham player. Here's Tell, who had that chance a few moments ago, down the left, wants to run at Wan-Bissaka, goes one way than the other. Wan-Bissaka's held him up so far. Davies with a high cross towards the far post. Goes over Kolo Muani, who has to race out of the penalty area. He's lost it. Somerville tries to take it round Porro, but Pedro Porro has the presence of mind to make sure that goes out of play before Somerville can sprint down that left-hand side. Earlier on, Watford 0, Millwall 2. It finished in our early commentary game from Vicarage Road. Millwall up to 4th in the Championship table. Chesterfield 0, Bromley 0. It finished in League 2. Bromley stayed top of the 4th tier. Here in the Premier League on BBC Radio London, it is 0-0 in this always hotly contested derby between West Ham and Tottenham. Last season there was a red card here. There was a red card in the game at London Stadium as well. Thomas Soucek sent off. That was earlier this season. And the ball is in the net in the game between Leyton Orient and Reading, but that sounds non-committal. Here's Dave Victor.
Well, Leyton Orient had the ball in the back of the net. That man again, Don Ballard, after a mistake from the goalkeeper Pereira, but the assistance flag went up. It doesn't count. It remains Leyton Orient 0, Reading 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Dave. We'll keep you posted on all the other 3 o'clock kickoffs here on BBC Radio London. Commentary on digital radio of Crystal Palace at Sunderland. In goes Wan-Bissaka with a challenge on the back of Matthias Tell, the referee. I think he's going to give a free kick here to Spurs.
But you see the problem there. Todibo has the ball and he literally broadcasts to everyone, I'm going to play it to Wan-Bissaka. There's no actual disguise in anything. They take so long, and then he just gives him an old-fashioned hospital ball.
Yeah.
What's he supposed to do with that?
Well,
and he gives it away, and later on in the game that would have been a booking, and that could cause a problem. Yeah. And that starts with the poor pass he receives from Todibo.
It's fair to say these two teams are eye-wateringly out of form, so I suppose you might get more moments like that.
There's two teams scratching about for some sort of form, and it's really difficult when you're that way.
Odubey on the right, here he is, and he's challenged by Fernandes. That's gone out of play off Fernandes for the first corner of the game to Tottenham. Fair to say they started more brightly?
Yes, I could say that, yeah. Only slightly. Okay. It's one of those, they're not...
I'm forcing you to take an opinion here, Paul. I'm sensing that.
It's a difficult one. I'd rather be a non-committal committal. That's what I'd prefer. It's a really difficult one because both teams, like you say, are not very good at the moment.
We're seeing some shots of Johnny Heitinger, the new Tottenham coach, just taking his seat in the dugout. And here's Tell with this Tottenham corner. Floated towards the far post. It's flicked away from Romero by Mavropanos, who then volleys that into the North London afternoon sky. The last man back is Pedro Porro, shows a nice bit of control inside the centre circle with Matheus Fernandes waiting for a mistake. That mistake doesn't arrive, and here come Spurs again.
See, this is who has to... Nick,
go on.
Xavi Simons. This is a perfect game for him to take one by the scruff of the neck.
To dictate it, yeah.
He's on the periphery of everything, and he has to step into that fire and really perform for me.
Well, they're swapping the three behind Kolo Muani around at the moment. Simon's on the left, going to try and feed it forward. Patel, who popped up in a number 10 position for a few moments, but he couldn't get on the end of that. It's cleared towards halfway. Jared Bowen tries to bring this down, but it bounces out of play off a West Ham player. It came off Bowen last. Wan-Bissaka wants to take the throw, but he won't. It goes into the West Ham box, headed away by Mavropanos. It'll drop to Bowen. Bit of space maybe for Pablo Philippe, the new signing, who had that bang on the head earlier. Good challenge by Gallagher to win it back for Spurs. Finds Porro, wants to cross. His shot's deflected, or cross rather is deflected. Scars tidies up. And Fernandes has done really well to get away from Porro and Gallagher here. And he wants to try and release Castellanos down the left. But Archie Gray is tidying up this time, and back it goes to Vicario.
Well, my wonder with Castellanos is, has he got any pace? Because I've not really, apart from him waving the flag, so he's got pace at that, but I can't see anything else, because he is up against a greyhound in Mickey van der Ven, and if he's looking for that, I'd like to see a foot race to see if he's got something so that they can hit a long ball, West Ham, because they're not going to pass through Spurs.
Well, Callum Wilson's on the bench, and at 33 years of age, his days of any level of pace are probably behind him. That was never really his game anyway.
Well, he's had big major hamstring
and he's had
issues as well, which will slow you down.
He's been unfit as well for long periods of time. Castellanos has got the nod today after his £26 million signing from Lazio. Simon nearly getting between two West Ham defenders, but Todibo has sorted that out. Powerful header back forward by Romero, but only as far as Thomas Souček, who finds Todibo, and he tries to drive forward wide to Scarles on the left. This is Pablo. West Ham with a bit of possession for the first time really in the game. 10 minutes gone at 0-0.
Just look at how high Spurs' line is. You know, Spurs are right by the halfway line, and the passer of the ball's got time and space. It's a gamble, let's say.
Well, we remember the high lines of the Postecoglou days when Tottenham didn't really bother doing any defending, and more often than not,
I think my grandson
paid the price.
I think my grandson drew the squiggly line that was their back four at that stage.
Yes, it was. It did rely on Mickey van der Ven's hamstrings being intact, really. That was the bottom line to get them out of trouble. Rugged play by Gallagher, gets Spurs moving again down the right. This is Odegaard, plays it for Gallagher, who's popped up in the right wing position, tries to send the ball back in field for Odegaard, but West Ham have dealt with that. But that is what Conor Gallagher brings you. It pops up in about 3 different positions in quick succession and gets you moving forward. That's a foul by Conor Gallagher. It's the other side of it, Gallagher just catching Souček, but he is a visible presence. So many Spurs players have disappeared in the last couple of seasons. He's already visible one way or the other. Let's go to Stamford Bridge. Here's Phil Parry.
Well, Chelsea have just had a claim for a penalty. João Pedro, was he clipped inside the penalty area? Nothing given. He laid down on the surface of the pitch. Nothing given from John Brooks. The referee has allowed play to continue. Brentford with their opening early chance, which was a very good one. Shada squeezing a shot through some legs. Saved by Robert Sanchez. It's still 0-0.
Phil Parry hosting our programme from Stamford Bridge. There's been a red card at Blundell Park in the game between Grimsby and Barnet. Stuart Smith.
And it's gone to Joe Kissy, the Barnet centre-back. He caught Evan Coury in the centre circle. I don't think the referee saw it at all. I didn't see it at all. The ball was well away from there, but after a lot of consultation with the fourth official and certainly with the Barnet management team, the referee's come to the decision that Joe Kissy gets a red card. So Barnet down to 10, and it's Grimsby Town 0, Barnet 0.
Wan-Bissaka coming forward for West Ham. Here's Bowen, low cross, blocked by Gray, comes out to Souček. West Ham's first attack of the game after 12 minutes. This is Jared Bowen, the captain on the right-hand side. Mavropanos has moved into Spurs territory. Here's Todibo just outside the centre circle. Wide to Scarles on the left. Every West Ham player inside the Spurs half for the first time in the contest. Still 0-0 though. Mavropanos gets it out of his feet and tries to clip the ball down the channel, finds Wan-Bissaka. Davies comes to close him down. They've slowed down West Ham here as they try to get into the final third. Souček wide to Wan-Bissaka, drives at Davies, gets a crossing that loops away from everybody, nodded down by Somerville, and then hooked towards goal by Castellanos, and it wasn't too far away from Vicario's goal frame. Paul Morton.
Well, a good bit of play by West Ham, really patient out wide, waiting to work the opportunity. Decent enough cross, nodded back, and couldn't really see from here how close that was, but sharp bit of play,
yeah,
got to say.
It was better from a West Ham perspective. Van der Ven has been caught inside his own penalty area. The ball's in the net from Pablo, but it won't count. Van der Ven has been caught by Castellanos, who, let's remember, is already on a yellow card.
I'll have to look again and see how he really catches him, because he steps on him. Because I'm wondering what the rolling about is about. Is that just embarrassment that he nearly got caught?
He's had his toes squished, but he was also prone on the ground. So one way or the other, Mickey van der Ven must have thought himself, I simply have to win a free kick here.
Yeah, I've got to roll about.
Spurs have given it away. West Ham, having been on the back foot for most of the game so far, suddenly have possession on the halfway line. Once again, there's a brittle atmosphere inside this stadium. They've only seen their team win twice in the Premier League so far. Bowen has helped this on. Here's Castellanos into Pablo, and then Mateus Fernandes round the corner for Somerville. Wants to run at Porro. Into the box he goes past two challenges, shoots, deflected it in! West Ham score first in the London derby. It's Crescencio Somerville. All his own work really. He cut in field from the left, and as he got the shot away, it took a deflection. He's gone straight to his manager, who gives him a massive hug. The deflection took it past Vicario, and after all the difficulties West Ham have had had in the last few months. It is the game against Tottenham that sees them get their noses in front. It's Spurs 0, West Ham 1.
Well, first of all, the passing play from the halfway line that got the ball out to Poroshenko Summerfield was beautiful from West Ham. And you know what he's going to do. You know exactly what he wants to do. He wants to cut inside and shoot. No Spurs players got close enough to stop him. He's cut inside, he's skipped past Porro, he's taken it again past Conor Gallagher, and the space opens up for him. And he shoots, and it hits, I think it hits Van der Ven on the backside, and keeper could do nothing about it, Vicario. It's one of those, if you don't buy a ticket, you never quite know, but he does that all the time, Somerville. Cuts inside, the right foot playing on the left, cuts inside, looks to pass it into the far corner. Takes a deflection, could have gone anywhere, but for West Ham, it's gone in the box.
Now,
in the goal, sorry.
Yeah, Van der Ven has gone back down again on the halfway line. I don't think he can continue. There's activity on the bench, and they're bringing out the stretcher. Is it Van der Ven?
I think it is. No, it's not. It's Ben Davies.
It is Ben Davies. Well spotted. Davies. Yeah, we just see his little head popping up above.
Which is a shame, because I think they need some leadership. Don't know what happened there. I think there was a tackle just before the passing sort of phase that got the ball to Somerville, but I didn't quite see it.
The West Ham fans are, some of them are producing some red cards in the away end to protest against the ownership. Not the first time we've seen West Ham fans assemble to make their dissatisfaction clear. They're dissatisfied about the ownership, but they're not dissatisfied with this scoreline at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on BBC Radio London. Spurs 0, West Ham 1, and red cards being shown off the field there. But there's been a red card well, actually no, it's not on the field at all, is it? There's another red card that's been shown off the field at Grimsby. Stuart Smith.
Yeah, Dean Brennan's gone as well, the Barnet manager, for arguing following that sending off, and the referee, I don't think really saw what was going on. The fourth official's too involved, really. It's still Grimsby 0, Barnet 0, but Barnet down to 10 men.
Thank you very much, Stuart. Tried to be too clever there, didn't I? Now they're putting Ben Davies' left leg in a protective splint almost. I mean, that looks quite bad from Ben Davies' perspective. He really is not. They're really going to have to take great care in getting him off the field of play. Is the stretcher going to get used, or are they going to get him up on his feet? No, they're going to get him on a stretcher. Well, this is another terrible piece of news for Spurs. They're 1-0 down, and one of the players who has been brought in to bring some leadership and was doing so. You know, we could. Honestly, he was talking in that huddle. He was leading the conversation, laying down his level of expectation in that huddle. A key player for Spurs, brought him because he's a fine defender, as you say, but also he's been there and done it all, and he's coming off.
Nick, I feel sorry for Thomas Frank. Look at the injuries. He's probably losing one a game. I've not seen anything
Richarlison
like it.
last week and the hamstring against Villa.
And these are big game players. These aren't players on the periphery. These are players you need, and you know he's just been without so many players, and it's really difficult. His whole spine of his creativity, Kulusevski and Maddison out completely. Davies comes back, gone.
He's in a bad way, Ben Davies. He's got his arms folded across his chest. The left leg is in a protective boot, and he had such a long spell out with injury. Ben Davies, you know, he was out all through this season, missed until December, missed long spells of last season as well. And we say, you know, goodbye and good luck to him as he's taken down the tunnel. And Jed Spence, who was dropped for Davies, is going to come on. That is a terrible, terrible piece of news for Ben Davies. I hate to mention this. He's got a World Cup to look forward to.
I know.
You know, they're going to still
fingers crossed.
Stuff to do. But
I'm lucky enough to know Ben Davies. I've done some work with him, and you wouldn't meet a lovely fella who's more committed and knows what this club's about and understands the history, and you know, will sweat blood for the club. And it's such a shame.
And perhaps it's worth underlining that all of that's happened in the last few moments. Spurs have gone behind, and it was Davies who was injured in the build-up to the goal, trying to challenge Jared Bowen. We need to catch up with events elsewhere. There's been enough going on here for a while. Free kick West Ham on the halfway line. Let's go to the Stadium of Light. Sunderland Crystal Palace. Emma Jones.
Still goalless here, but Palace have had a few chances. One from Pino. Maybe he should have gone for the shot himself rather than trying to pass to Mateta. Chris Richards already in the book. 20 on the clock. It is Sunderland 0, Palace 0.
Chelsea Brentford's being watched by Phil Parry for us.
Still goalless here after 20 minutes or so of this game. Chelsea with a shot from Cole Palmer, set up by Pedro Neto, who had been allowed to gallop down the right hand side from a delivery from Robert Sanchez. Palmer blazed it over the top of the bar. It's lively and rumbustious, but not too many clear-cut goal scoring opportunities. Goalless.
Spurs on the counter as Simon sends this down the channel. Kolo Muani goes to ground under a challenge from Mavropanos. The referee weighs play on. Let's go to Ellen Road and Mark Taylor.
20 minutes played, it's still 0-0. Noah Okafor has fired one straight at visiting keeper Bernd Leno. Raul Jimenez was off target with a near post effort from a Fulham corner. Leeds 0, Fulham 0.
And Charlton are at home to Sheffield United. Louis Mendes is watching.
Still 0-0 here after 90 minutes. Been one-way traffic though. Sheffield United all over the Alex. Kaminski's made a couple of good saves. One from Bamford, one from Cannon. Bamford felt he should have a penalty as well, not given. Still Charlton 0, Sheffield United 0.
Spurs on the attack down the left. Jed Spence, who's just come on, trying to take on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Set now for Xavi Simon in a crossing position. He's approaching the edge of the penalty area. Wants to shoot, curls it well wide of goal. Another Spurs effort misses the target. Let's go to the Bet 365 and Sophie Mason.
Well, goalless here, but it's the hosts who've come the closest. They've hit the side netting twice, one through Lamine Cisse and again through Thomas Rigo. And Rigo falls in a big save from Walsh as well with a sweet strike from the edge of the area. But it's Stoke 0, QPR 0.
Let's go to Plough Lane, shall we? How are Wimbledon getting on against Doncaster? Izzy Gilligan.
Yeah, it's goalless here. AFC Wimbledon 0, Doncaster Rovers 0. The visitors almost went up in the 13th minute through Luke Molyneux, but Don's goalkeeper Nathan Bishop made a brilliant save. Not too much between the two sides yet. AFC Wimbledon 0, Doncaster Rovers 0.
Oh, West Ham nearly carving out a second opportunity. Somerville causing problems down the left. Managed to feed Castellanos inside the 6-yard area, but the touch just got away from him. Still 1-0 to West Ham. How are Leyton Orient getting on at home to Reading? Dave Victor.
Still goalless. The O's have dominated possession, but they survived penalty appeals when Yedden looked as if he may have been held. The ball broke to Ritchie and he shot over the bar. It remains Leyton Orient 0, Reading 0.
Kolo Muani trying to break forward for Tottenham, who trail by a goal to nil here on BBC Radio London. This is Pedro Porro. Spurs trying to respond to going 1-0 down. They're playing more in West Ham's half of the field. Jed Spence has it on the left, moves infield under a challenge from Jared Bowen, given to Romero. Fascinating test this for West Ham now, who've had such a terrible run recently. Progress in the FA Cup though last weekend against Queen's Park Rangers has quote-unquote changed everything, according to Nuno Espirito Santo, and then Porro tries to feed this down the right and it goes horribly wrong. Right, Paul, let's try and deal with some of the fallout from all this. We've got a little break in play. West Ham, well, they don't know what they do. They're ahead in a big game away from home. This is uncharted territory somewhat.
It's nosebleed territory, but I mean what they've got to do is, it's about, you hear people talk about game management. It is just every 5 minutes, just manage the next 5 minutes and manage the next 5 minutes and manage, because Spurs, I'm not quite sure, they need to play with more urgency and energy. When you're the home side, you put the away side on the back foot, and they haven't done enough of that.
Spence coming forward now for Spurs, approaching the edge of the penalty area. Simon wide to Tell, left hand side, 3 in the box. That's a deflected cross up in the air. Oh, it's headed down. Can it be scrambled? Spence has missed it from 3 yards. He almost played it behind him. It might have taken a deflection, but he's missed the goal, the 6-yard box, and virtually the penalty area. What an extraordinary chance for Spurs not taken after a cross from Tell caused all sorts of problems, and West Ham can counter, and Bowen is going to chase this forward. Romero with him, he's on the edge of the penalty area, help arriving. This is Pablo inside the box, fails to control it, and in the end his cross is blocked by Porro for a corner to West Ham, but it should be 1-1.
Wow, what a chance to miss, I've got to say. I mean, in a flash, West Ham are up the other end. And by the way, why Bowen passes it when he's 1v1 against Romero, who has no pace, is beyond me. Maybe he was knackered, but for Yeah, I think is it Odobert?
Odobert with the first effort,
and then Jed Spence. You've got to say it's great goalkeeping by Areola. Saves one, gets up, saves the other, but you should be scoring from there. You should be scoring from there. Again, highlight Spurs' problems.
Here's West Ham's first corner of the game. Somerville to take it down the right. Swung in, which a wicked effort. It's headed over by Castellanos at the far post. It came to him very quickly. But that's another gilt-edged chance. And the rancorousness around the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is starting, because Spurs have missed a great chance at one end and then very nearly let one in at the other.
Like I said, it's just highlighting Spurs' problems. They're not putting the ball in the back of the net, and they look very, very fragile at the back, I've got to say. West Ham know they can score, and they've created one or two other opportunities where if they were better, they will have scored. So I've got to say, this game's not going to end up 1-0 the way these two are defending. Well, I've got to say.
We wondered what we might get today, and we said that this probably wasn't the game that would see Nuno Espirito Santos get dismissed if it went wrong. Thomas Frank might be in more danger if Spurs lose this one. Oh, Simon's put that behind Spence. I mean, just complete lack of communication between the two of them. It's a throw into West Ham.
Well, with respect, even if it stood still, Spence, it was still a terrible ball backswing. But I mean, Simons is the type that would irritate me, because he has so much skill and ability, but you're just not seeing it. Maybe this isn't the team for him. Maybe, I mean, there are good players who are just not good in this country because of the sheer volume of football and what it's like, the physicality of it. Maybe he can't handle that, I don't know.
Wan-Bissaka holding Odobert on halfway. Free kick Spurs on the halfway line. Yeah, there is.
I have to say, Nick, very quickly, Odobert and Tell, I honestly believe they were the same person. So it's great to see them, because I'm not quite sure what they are.
No, me neither. And again, Tell has overrun this and given it away. They paid good money for them. Here is Odobert, and wide to the right, and Porro. Gallagher in a crossing position, back out to Porro, level with the edge of the box. In comes the cross, looking for Simon at the far post, headed away by Wan-Bissaka for West Ham. Comes out to Bowen on the near side. Well, they had a number of players like that. I mean, Brennan Johnson was, I would have said, probably the most effective of the three of them. For my money, he got sold.
Yeah, but that was only because he got on the back end of things and scored. His actual production was nothing.
But the other two don't do anything.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, here's Tell. Maybe he can do something now. He's shot wide. Again, I'm staggered, aren't you? There's a goal at Stamford Bridge. Here's Phil Parry.
And Chelsea have taken the lead after a lengthy VAR check, initially chalked off for the offside flag on the far side. Coyote with an attempted clearance, blocked by Enzo Fernandez into the path of João Pedro, who blasted it into the roof of the net. The celebrations are muted because they'd seen the flag, but after a long check, João Pedro onside from the block, and Chelsea lead by a goal to nil.
Just seen that Castellanos chance. It came to him quite quickly, but it was really good. Here's Somerville driving through the middle of the field again for West Ham, approaching the edge of the box, into the box, shoots wide. He had a lot of company from Tottenham defenders as he broke into the box, but that's the kind of direct running that we simply don't see from Spurs players.
Therein lies the problem. I mean, it's great and the thing about Somerville is he needed a couple of players up with him to take one of those defenders away, and it would have opened up some space, but he's got to do that more as well. A little bit. He reminds me very much of Odobert and Tell and Simmons, where they take forever to do things and they're not really producing enough.
Spurs playing out from the back. As you can tell, it's not going down terribly well. The good burgers of North London have paid their money to come here today and watch.
Do you know what, Nick? It's not playing out the back. There's just no one to pass to.
Yeah, they're just knocking it around out the back. But here they go with Simon through the middle. Finds Tell, edge of the box. Wants to drive at Wan-Bissaka. Sets it for Simon, and then Fernandez gets in. That's a good challenge by Gray. Finds Tell in the penalty area again. Two around him. Still going Tell. Has he won a corner? Yes, he has. Well, eventually, Tottenham cranked themselves into gear.
Yeah, I've got to say, I mean, Fernandez, poor play from Fernandez, constantly looking for fouls, constantly looking to be fouled, and he's got himself in trouble. He's giving the ball away. They get into a good position as Mavropanos, who defends it really well. But it's that end product. They get into good positions where the final pass or the final cross or the ball before the person who scores is not good enough, never good enough. I mean, Fernandes for me is a nonsense. There's nothing wrong with him as far as I'm. Look at him.
Well, he's getting up now. He's been down for a while.
Look at him. He's walking. Look, he's running. Absolutely, there's nothing wrong with him. No, he's trying to con people, and for me, I'm not having that. He's given the ball away. He's at fault. So let's pretend I'm injured, and he's not.
Spurs 0, West Ham 1. This is BBC Radio London, and Tottenham have earned their second corner of the game. Spence to take it right-footed, swung in towards the near post, flicked away by Souček, nodded down by Porro, back out to Tell on that left-hand side, wants to run at Somerville. Somerville makes a challenge, it drops to Simon, sends it down the left edge of the box for Spence. His cross cut out by Fernandes, who does appear to be fine. Tell with a low cross, blocked by Scarles. West Ham defending their box heartily at the moment. Here's Tell again. Bowen comes and makes a great challenge, taking it away from Tell, and he's going to clip this long, and Somerville is chasing it, and Odebear's the last man back, and not known for his defensive qualities. Wilson Odebear
does well though.
Does fine. Vicario panic over. Not that they were panicking, it was only me that was panicking. There's been a goal in our commentary game on digital radio. Sunderland Crystal Palace. Here's Emma Jones.
I can tell you that Crystal Palace have taken the lead. A Will Hughes corner punched by the Sunderland goalkeeper into the path of Pino. It is Sunderland 0, Crystal Palace 1.
Sunderland have not won, not lost at home all season. The referees had to stop the game because Matheus Fernandes has gone down again, and the physio team are admitted onto the playing area to see how he is. There's commentary available of Sunderland Crystal Palace right now on DAB digital radio with Emma Jones and Matt Lockwood. West Ham go over and make sure their player's okay. Palace, of course, have had this terrible week, haven't they? Knocked out the FA Cup by Macclesfield. Manager announces he's losing. Mark Gay all but moved to Manchester City. And rumours about a departure in the shape of Jean-Philippe Mateta as well. So more injury woe here for West Ham. Fernandes is now sitting up. Nuno Espirito Santo, who had a short and unsuccessful spell here a few seasons ago, just wanders out of his technical area to see how his midfielder is. But the main headline so far this afternoon here on BBC Radio London is that Tottenham trail West Ham by a goal to nil. West Ham the first team to win here, of course, very famously. And they are loving the fact they're in front. They haven't had much to shout about recently. I had the pleasure, or almost certainly misfortune, of going to Wolverhampton earlier in 2026 to watch them lose 3-0 at Wolves. West Ham were shocking, and that is an understatement. They were truly miserable, but they've taken their chances. As you said, they bought the lottery ticket, didn't they?
Yeah.
Somerville moved in field, had a shot, it did take a deflection, and that's why they lead 1-0.
The problem that you have with teams like this, Spurs and West Ham, where they have enough confidence, they're not taking risks, and when you're risk averse, it becomes sanitised and really, poor football, and that's what they've been serving up, because no one's prepared to go and dribble with the ball, take a risk, go and do something different, because they're frightened to give the ball away, and they've got to show the courage and bravery to be able to go and produce performances, and individuals step up as well.
There are 12 minutes to go to half time. Fernandes is okay. There's actually going to be a lot more than the 12 minutes because of the injuries we've had. Odebear almost gets away down the right. Somerville, who's looked really lively so far, brings this out of his own half of the field. You can see he's full of confidence, actually, Crescencio Somerville. It's amazing what a goal will do for a player. And there's been another goal at the Stadium of Light. Here's Emma Jones.
And it's an equaliser for Sunderland almost straight after Crystal Palace had taken the lead through Pino. Across from the right-hand side, Robbie left it for Lafay. It's 1-1 at the Stadium of Lights.
Dominic Szoboszlai's missed a penalty for Liverpool against Burnley, still 0-0 in that one. 1-1 at Sunderland, 1-0 to West Ham here on BBC Radio London. A reminder that our next live football after today is on Tuesday, and Borussia Dortmund come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the Champions League. You'll be able to hear all the build-up on DAB from 7. Here's Simon driving through the middle, tries to release Odebear, but the pass is slightly undercooked, and Odebear couldn't get there Todibo does, and another sniff at goal goes begging, and then Romero gets caught out of position. Pablo manages to lift it over the top, but it's headed clear by Van de Ven, only as far as Souček. Here's Bowen running at the edge of the penalty area, into the box he goes, shoots, blocked by Van de Ven. Last one deflected off the Spurs defender into the net, this one stays out. Here's Souček on the right, West Ham having another little spell of possession, into Bowen, edge of the penalty area. Tries to get it wide to Souček. Souček collides with Gray. It goes out of play for a corner to West Ham. Their second of the game will quickly go to Ellen Road and Mark Taylor.
Leeds 0, Fulham 0. Brendan Aronson has run through for the home team, but he's spurned the opportunity. Fulham's second best at the moment. Leeds 0, Fulham 0.
The Ollie Scarles to take this corner for West Ham. We're going to catch up with events at the Valley in a moment.
Archie Gray's in a bit of trouble, I think.
There was quite a firm coming together between him and Souček, wasn't it?
He's not be able to jump for anything, so you want to hope it doesn't come anywhere near him.
Here's the corner, flicked away by Van de Ven as far as Somerville on the volley deflection, blocked, there's the ball, the flag's up, Bowen's goal won't count. Unless VAR intervened, it did look as though once Vicario saved it, when it dropped back to Bowen, he might have been in an offside position.
Yeah, there were two West Ham players in offside position. Again, wonderful save from Vicario, because it takes a definite deflection. Yep, you can see they're both. Yep, he's offside. He was offside. Yeah, Bowen was offside.
It took a deflection off Souček. He tried to chest it in, and Vicario does so well to react.
Good save. But they know they can score, and that's the thing. You know, that's what gives you confidence. Is I know we can score, and I just look at the two teams at the moment, and one team is really confident, and one team, just from the body position, if you look at them all, the body language isn't great. You know, Spurs need more. They should be playing with energy and purpose. They're the home side, but the crowd are doing their job, trying to will them on. But Vicario's got no one to pass to.
He's found Van de Ven, who's gone long. Tell the target, headed away by Wan-Bissaka. Bowen is going to try and take on Spence on this side of the field. We are going to the Valley, I promise. But this is such a fascinatingly poised game. And West Ham at the moment, I would almost say good value for leading 1-0. Here's Spence on the halfway line. He's going to try and seek out Pedro Porro on the right. Porro's got company in the shape of Somerville. Oh, clever from Odobert, flicks it on for Porro, who crosses early, stabbed away by Mavropanos, comes out to Gray. Oh, I thought was going to shoot, but he gets it wide to Porro again. Cross deflected into the feet of Todibo. Kalimawani's done well to win it back. Spurs are trying. Here's Kalimawani on the edge of the box, into Porro, left-footed, cross headed away by Wan-Bissaka. Let's go to the Valley and Louis Mendes.
And there's a red card here at the Valley. It's still Charlton 0, Sheffield United 0, but the visitors have been all over the Addicts. They're down to 10 men. Dribble Samare for a horrible challenge on Harvey Nibbs, who remains down injured. Samare hit the post a few moments ago. He's having an early shower now. Still 0-0, but Sheffield United down to 10 men.
There's a lot of red cards today. I wonder if Stoke against QPR is still 11 against 11. Sophie Mason.
Still 11 against 11 and still 0-0, but QPR grown into this one, playing in the counter. Steve Cook's header over the bar. It's still Stoke 0, QPR 0, heading towards half-time.
What about Wimbledon against Doncaster to plough lane and will actually hold on Izzy? Here's Kalimawani on the edge of the West Ham penalty area for Tottenham. Todibo's done a good job of holding him up. The two of them are tangling, and Kalimawani just wasn't strong enough, and Spurs have lost possession, and Somerville is careering over the halfway line. He's covered a lot of territory. In goes Gray, doesn't get hold of it. Bowen does, challenged by Spence. Now the referee's reaching for his pocket here and booking Archie Gray. I thought he was in trouble because he never got the ball. Somerville's still down, Gray in the book, and we will go to Wimbledon and Izzy Gilligan.
Yeah, still goalless here. AFC Wimbledon 0, Doncaster Rovers 0. It's a lively game, and there have been some bright moments for both sides. The closest chances perhaps going the visitors' way, but no one has found the back of the net yet. So it remains AFC Wimbledon 0, Doncaster Rovers 0.
Let's go to Brisbane Road. Leighton Orient Reading, Dave Victor.
It is still goalless. Just seen a yellow card for Charlie Savage. Leighton Orient twice have got the ball into the back of the net. Don Ballard again caught offside from Leighton Orient's third corner of the game. Orient 0, Reading 0.
And what about Blundell Park? Grimsby against Barnet. Stuart Smith.
Yeah, still Grimsby 0, Barnet 0. Of course, Barnet down to 10 men, and they've had a bit of luck and fortune in front of their own goal with some excellent saves from Slicker, some top defending, getting bodies in the way of the Grimsby attack. Still no breakthrough. Grimsby 0, Barnet 0.
Thank you, Stuart. We've got 5 minutes of the first half to go, plus injury time, of which there'll be quite a bit. It's a free kick to West Ham on the edge of the centre circle, and it is very quiet in most of this ground. Just looking around me, everyone's sort of standing there with their arms folded. They're a bit more ebullient in the West Ham end over on the far side. Fernandez, with a piece of tissue stuffed up his nose, sends this into the box. Mavropanos' his header clawed away by Vicario. He had to stretch all 6'5" of him to get to that because he was heading towards the top corner. Another let off for Spurs. Here's Bowen with a crossing position, hits Gray in the face, goes out for a West Ham corner. Tottenham are hanging on.
They are all over the place. Souček at the back post, the best header for West Ham. No one's marking him. Gets headed back. Mavropanos, it's a wonderful save. It really is a good save from Vicario, because not only does he get to it, but he pushes it out of any trouble whatsoever. Wonderful save, but West Ham sensing blood here, and they've really got to go and score again. They really have to.
Just one win away from home so far this season for West Ham at Nottingham Forest, managed by, well, you know, here's Scarl's corner into the box, headed away by Romero in front of his own goalkeeper. Fernandez sends it back to Wan-Bissaka, the last man back for West Ham, and he goes all the way back to Areola. There's going to be a lot of nerves during the second half. I mean, I can assure you, if it stays like this, Tottenham are getting booed off at half-time yet again. But Spurs at the moment looking to try and negotiate the remaining minutes of this first half without anything else going wrong.
Well, if you look at it, he's got the ball for Vicario, he's looking forward, and none of the forwards are looking to run. They're all standing, facing him. There is no desire. Van der Ven's got the ball now, can't knock a long ball. There's no movement at all, and this is what happens when you're struggling a little bit. No one really wants the ball. Simmons is showing for it, but not really wanting it. Then you look at all the other players, no one is running in behind. No one really wants the ball, and it's really hard for your back four and Vicario to... And West Ham will be loving this. They're comfortable.
I'll go back to the goals that Aston Villa scored in the first half in the FA Cup last weekend against Spurs. I don't know if you saw them, but the football was electric, absolutely electric.
Magnificent.
Particularly the first one, when Deere combined with Marlon.
That's just
and Rodgers.
Literally, the ball went in a straight line, literally.
But the movement and the energy, and as was mentioned during the game, two of those players don't start many for Villa. They come into the side.
It's all about mindset, though. It's all about mindset, Nick. Run forward, pass forward. If you are confident, you'll get runners off the ball. You'll get people taking risks and passing the ball forward. At the moment with Spurs, you'll see a lot of backwards and sideways because the confidence isn't quite there.
Here's Gallagher for Spurs. Liverpool 1, Burnley 0. Wirtz with the goal. Here's Audebert, right hand side into Porro. It's challenged by Fernandez. Ball goes out of play for a Spurs throw. 5 yards from the West Ham corner flag. If you're West Ham at the moment, I mean, this is a gilt-edged opportunity to get an absolutely morale-boosting 3 points, isn't it?
It is, because you know that Spurs can't be this bad in the second half. They'll come out with more urgency at least.
You're quite right.
They'll come out with more urgency at least. This is when they've got to make it count. And what you don't want to do, this time in an hour, saying, "Oh, West Ham have ruined the chances they've missed and the opportunity they had."
Porro gives the ball a wipe for this long throw. Spurs need something from somewhere. Now Porro still hasn't thrown it. He's waited because there were no options. Gives it to Gray eventually. Back to Porro. Fires it in. Gallagher with a looping header which goes wide. And it's going to be a goal kick for Alphonse Areola. And in a minute or so we'll find out how long it's going to be added on at the end of this first half. First half in which Spurs have looked vulnerable and toothless at the same time.
They have, and I'm just looking at Thomas Frank's face, and there's this blank look on it. So my question is, what's he going to do? What is he actually going to do? Because he's got to do something about it. Something has to change. This is not good enough.
How long can Dominic Solanke last? Is probably the only real.
Yeah. Because Moani up front, I don't know what he is, Moani.
No, I don't know.
I genuinely have no clue.
Bowen plays this forward, cut out on the stretch by Romero. Pablo gives it to Fernandez, wide to Scarles on the left. Here's a cross, Bowen was unmarked, but it's headed away by Van der Ven. Castellanos ended up in a heap on the floor. Wan-Bissaka has given this away.
Terrible ball.
And Spurs can counter. Here's Simon, but again, he didn't seem to get into his stride, Xavi Simon.
He's not quick enough. It's not urgent enough, and my worry with him is that he's not in sync with the pace, with the demands of the Premier League, the physical demands. There, he was just too slow. And what that situation told you was, there's a half chance if I move the ball quickly, but he hasn't moved it quickly.
There'll be 8 more minutes for everybody to enjoy here in the first half, as Odegaard collects this for Tottenham. 8 minutes for West Ham or Tottenham to try and change the course of this game. Heavy touch by Porro. And then Somerville tries to get away from Romero. Yellow card for Christian Romero, tackling Somerville on the halfway line when it looked for all the world as though Somerville was going to get away from him.
Well, he's taken a gamble because he's not got the pace to deal with Somerville, and his sort of sparring partner, Van der Ven, isn't anywhere in the vicinity, and so he knows it's the old centre-half's adage: either the ball or the man can get past me, but not both. And he stopped both there, didn't he?
Possibly a good yellow card. It's been a goal in East London to Brisbane Road. Dave Victor.
Leyton Orient have taken the lead just before the half-time mark, and it was Dom Ballard who's twice been denied by the offside flag, but nothing was going to deny Leyton Orient's leading marksman. He's 13th for the season. An excellent assist from Ollie O'Neill. It's Leyton Orient 1, Reading 0.
It's a big scoreline for Leyton Orient, who lead 1-0. Here, West Ham lead Tottenham by a goal to nil. No wins for West Ham in 10 Premier League games. Here's Souček, centre of the field, wide to Bowen on the right. They've had other chances, the Hammers. Bowen with Spence on the edge of the Tottenham box. Bowen on the outside. Little teasing cross headed away by Romero. Simon nods it away, sent back into the mix. Tell's got to be careful. And some quick footwork by Tell.
And then a rubbish pass.
Yeah,
a rubbish pass.
Simon couldn't get hold of it. Here is Mavropanos, his ball forward, cut out by Gallagher.
That'll be a booking.
Yeah, Mavropanos has caught Gallagher, but the game continues. Spurs trying to come forward. We're going to get half-time from elsewhere as Simon is outpaced by Todibo. Todibo is just quicker across the ground to get to that than Xavi Simon, and it's cleared towards the halfway line. Let's get half-time from some of our other featured matches as Jared Bowen shrugs off Conor Gallagher. 2 England colleagues there. Wide to Castellanos, plays this forward. Pablo tries to get there first. Romero does get there first. And yes, half-time's elsewhere to Wimbledon Doncaster. Izzy Gilligan.
Yes, half-time at Plough Lane. It's AFC Wimbledon 0, Doncaster Rovers 0. It's been a lively contest with plenty of physicality in the centre of the pitch. Lots of turnovers. Some chances for both sides, but still all to play for in the next 45 as it remains goalless. Half-time, AFC Wimbledon 0, Doncaster Rovers 0.
Here comes Spurs trailing 1-0. Kolo Muani out wide to Pedro Porro. Low cross coming in, and Odegaard just couldn't get in front of the 2 defenders. Souček and Mavropanos minding the shop, just made sure Odegaard couldn't reach and connect. It went through to Areola, and it's still 1-0 to the Hammers.
Well, I mean, there weren't enough. Simply put, there weren't enough Spurs players in the box there. It's a decent cross, but there's just not enough players gambling.
Here come West Ham again, more space for Crescencio Somerville. Into the box he goes as he gets ready to shoot. An important challenge by Romero, and this is going to drop to Palace. A real awkward scramble. Pablo goes down. Castellanos has kept this in play on the flank. Romero takes it off him. It's cleared away to Odegaard, who again just gets taken away from the ball too easily.
That's the problem with Odegaard and Tell. They cuff up possession. They're just giving the ball away. That there, you gave it away. You haven't really fought hard enough to keep it. That's the problem you're having. They're giving the ball away cheaply. And when you give the ball to any side, it doesn't matter. When you give it to them that often, you watch the confidence. And West Ham just look a little bit more confident in their play at the moment.
Which is extraordinary to think, really, given West Ham's recent difficulties. Here's Gray. We're going to go to the stadium light in a second, but Odegaard stretches his legs down the flank. Foot race with Somerville. Somerville wins the foot race in the left back position and guides it back to Areola. How's it going then on Wearside. Sunderland, Crystal Palace, Emma Jones.
All square at the break. Pino putting Palace ahead on the 30th minute, but a couple of minutes later, Lefay with the equaliser for the home side. Mateta might have thought he'd got another goal for Palace right at the end of this first half, but the offside flag was raised. Sunderland 1, Palace 1 at the break.
Another red card at Charlton, Louis Mendes.
This is incredible, still 0-0. Sheffield United down to 9 minutes. The former Millwall man Jafat Tanganga has shown a straight red card after an aerial challenge with Miles Leaburn. It's still 0-0. Sheffield United are down to 9 men before half-time.
Thank you, Louis. Free kick to Spurs here, halfway inside the West Ham half of the field. We've played for 5 minutes of the 8 that are going to be added on at the end of this first period, and it's Matthias Tell who's going to send this in from the right-hand side. Set piece like this could just work in Tottenham's favour. West Ham must be ruining some of those chances they've missed in the half. Tell's delivery headed away as far as Porro. Here's Simon, edge of the box, gives it to Audebert. Everybody stays forward in a white shirt. Simon moving away from Souček here, wants to dink in across, flicked on. Gallagher then into the 6-yard box on the stretch. Mavropanos gets rid of it, only as far as Kalimawani, who hooks it back over his shoulder. Tell shoots a volley that was difficult to control, to be fair to him, and he goes out of play for a goal kick. Right, let's get some half times elsewhere and to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea Brentford, Phil Parry.
Blues leading, Coyote clearance blocked into the path of João Pedro, who powered it home on 26 minutes. A check, a lengthy one for offside, but it was awarded as being onside. Brentford have spurned chances from Schade and 2 from Matthias Jensen, and Mark Cucurella has led to a booking for Schade by, shall we say, milking it after being pushed over by the German. It's 1-0 Chelsea at half-time.
Half-time at Ellen Road, Mark Taylor.
Half-time, Leeds 0, Fulham 0. Defences have generally been on top. The best chance was when Brendan Aronson ran through for the home side. He skied his effort. Leeds 0, Fulham 0.
Here comes Spurs, trailing by a goal to nil. It's with Tell on the left, tries to play it forward. Spence can't get hold of it. Simon neither.
Giving the ball away.
Yeah, they do. There's going to be a real din at half-time, I'm afraid, Spurs fans. Those of you listening at home that don't want to hear it, you might want to just maybe go, don't turn the radio off. We never advise that here.
No.
But we do, so maybe go into a different room.
Yeah, go and make a cup of tea or something.
Possibly call someone on the phone so you don't have to listen to it, because we're a minute or so away from a bit of a racket. Bowen down the right, trying to take on Spence by the Spurs corner flag. Spence has dug that out. Now here's Tell, just inside his own half of the field, goes down under a challenge from Wan Bissaka. Just seeing if there are any other full times to half times to bring you rather. Liverpool and Burnley is 1-0 at the break. Manchester United beat Manchester City rather extraordinarily in the early kickoff. Great chance for Arsenal to stretch their lead tomorrow, later on rather, in the 5:30 against Nottingham Forest. And here's Romero on the halfway line. Tottenham haven't really created a good chance for a while as this cross is clipped in by Audebert. Nobody near a white shirt. And it almost, the Spurs fans are almost fed up of being disgruntled. A lot. I mean, if you look at the south stand,
yeah,
I'd say it's half empty.
Well, a lot have gone for their half time. I mean, he gets the ball.
Can I have a drink, please?
He gets the ball there wide, Audebert, and no player is busting a gut to get in the box. They're all just. It's not. And I know I've played in teams like this. You're hoping someone else does it. You're hoping that one of the others will pull us out the fight. You're hoping someone will put, a bit of magic up, because you don't feel confident that you can do it yourself, and that's where they are at the moment.
It's half-time. They played for exactly 8 minutes in added time at the end of this first half, and yet again at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, these Spurs players come off the field to a chorus of boos. They trail West Ham, who've only won once on their travels so far this season at Nottingham Forest, by a 1-0. Crescencio Somerville's deflected shot after a quarter of an hour. West Ham have had other chances though. Castellanos has headed over from close range. Mavropanos has drawn a fine save from Vicario at the other end. Spurs have been wasteful. Tell, Spence, Audebert have all missed chances, but they've lacked a cutting edge. Conor Gallagher has run around, but the fact is, as we said at the start of our programme, he's going to give Spurs leadership and energy, but he's not really going to create or score that many goals. and that remains the problem. And there are some really glum faces from a Tottenham Hotspur perspective. From a West Ham perspective, they can win this game. This could give them the sort of shot in the arm that changes seasons. At the moment, though, the sense of gloom around most of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is absolutely palpable. You can get away with quite a lot as a Tottenham Hotspur set of players and manager. Losing at half-time to West Ham, having played like that, that's not one of them. Half-time, Tottenham 0, West Ham 1.
Total Sport. BBC Radio London.
Nick Godwin and Paul Mortimer, our commentary team there at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We'll get half-time details from other games in a moment or two. Let's quickly go back to Morts. As Nick mentioned during commentary, Nuno Espirito Santo said that extra time win over QPR in the FA Cup last Sunday changes everything. Well, if this ends up being a West Ham United win off the back of that pretty good first half from their point of view, then he might well be right. It also could change a lot at Tottenham Hotspur if things don't alter in the second half, because that reaction at half-time, expected, but also will be noted.
Big time. I mean, the problem you have with West Ham is, number one, they're West Ham, and number two, they're where they are for a reason. They're where they are for a reason, and that's going to be the saving grace for this poor Spurs performance. They cannot be that poor in the second half.
No.
And by that I just mean the ability to actually run about and compete, because that's all you demand from them. That hasn't been enough. West Ham look dangerous every single time they go forward. They look like there's a half chance.
Yeah.
And but for a poor pass or a poor decision, they could be 2 or 3 up. I do believe, though, Areola made a great save to deny.
Yes.
I think it was Spence and Tell, or Odobert, I think. And that should have been a goal. That should have been a goal. So you can see Spurs' problems, but in between the two boxes, it has been dire. Archie Gray is the only person I can say who is trying to drive the team on. He didn't look fit, and he got booked because he'd taken a knock and lunged in at a tackle. But they need more Archie Grays. They need more. Xavi Simons may as well come and sit up here with me, to be honest. I'm doing my stretches because it's just about, this is the type of game where he sets his standard. He goes and grabs it by the scruff of the neck, but I don't think he's in tune with the physicality of the Premier League, and I think that's the struggle for him. Nothing else. He just doesn't see, everything is too slow, he gets caught too easy, and he's the one for me who should be the factor for Spurs. It's just not happening. Not happening.
No, he's not. But for West Ham United, I suppose, the Spurs improved against Villa last week, so Nuno will know that, and he'll also won't want to rue the chances that maybe they had in that first half to make it 2-0. We'll have to wait and see. Morts, thank you very much indeed. A big second half for Spurs, big second half for West Ham United, because they will close the gap to Nottingham Forest, who kick off at 5:30 against Arsenal, to just 4 points again, and they'll rue that turnover they suffered at home against Nottingham Forest. Let's go into the Championship then, shall we? Half-time whistles blown at the 365. It's Stoke against QPR. Sophie Mason.
And it's goalless here in Stoke, but a few big let-offs for QPR. Rigo and Cisse making a formidable pair for the Potters. Rigo whipping in some panic-striking deliveries into the back post, but QPR off the hook with bodies behind the ball. And a big involved first half shift from Joe Walsh in goal. A few flashes for Rangers. Steve Cook's header over the bar, and just before the break, Kone curled a tempting ball across the 6-yard box, but he and Colley just not on the same wavelength. Stoke City 0, QPR 0.
Sophie, thanks very much indeed. Staying in the Championship, we'll go to the Valley. Lengthy added on time at the end of the first half there between, Charlton and, what is it, Louis? 9-man Sheffield United.
It's been a remarkable first half here. Half-time it's Charlton 0, Sheffield United 0. As you said, Phil, the visitors down to 9 men. Samare sent off 10 minutes before the break after a nasty challenge on Harvey Nibbs. The Charlton man had to make way for Carey. Then right on the stroke of half-time, Japhet Tanganga on his return to South East London shown a straight red card after leading into an aerial challenge with Sonny Carey with his arm. So Sheffield United down to 9. How they aren't leading this game, I don't know. Before that, they had so many chances. Bamford forcing Kaminsky into a good save. Another save from the Addicks goalkeeper by Cannon. Samare, before he got sent off, hit the the post as well. Bamford may well have had a penalty for a challenge by Anderson. Charlton have been awful in this game. They haven't kept possession at all. They haven't put any decent moves together. If they don't win now with 9 men, there'll be some big questions. Sheffield United, they could easily be winning this 3-0. At half-time, it's 0-0, and they're down to 9 men.
Wow, extraordinary. If Charlton can't get the win out of this, then Louis, they'll really miss an opportunity, won't they?
There's no excuses. 45 minutes against 9 men. I have to say, when Sheffield United went down to 10 men, they still looked the better side. Charlton have to sharpen up. 9 men, they've got to take this opportunity.
Absolutely. You'll keep us up to date with the second half of that one. Let's go to Brisbane Road as well. Leyton Orient against Reading, half time for Dave Victor.
Leyton Orient 1, Reading 0. Case the third time lucky for Don Ballard. He looked as if he'd scored in the 5th minute. Pereira's mistake, Ballard with the header, but he was ruled offside, and he was ruled offside again in the 33rd minute from Leyton Orient's third corner, touched on by Clare for Ballard. Again, the assistant's flag went up, but it stayed down in the 44th minute. Wonderful approach by Ollie O'Neill, threaded the ball through to Don Ballard, one-on-one the goalkeeper. It was a wonderful finish into the bottom corner for his 13th of the season, and the goal that Leyton Orient deserved, because it's the Leyton Orient 1, Reading 0.
Thank you very much indeed. And Grimsby against Barnet, about to start the second half, aren't they, Stuart Smith?
Almost 0-0 here at half time, but it's been an eventful first half. After just 3 minutes, Snicker was fouled as he went up to collect the ball. The ball ended up in the net. No goal, says the referee. And on 4 minutes, Glover, great run from the left-hand side for Barnet, played into the Grimsby box, cleared off the line. But then we had an incident in the 11th minute. The referee didn't see it. Off the ball as Kizzy caught Kuru in the centre circle. Kizzy, the centre-back for Barnet. As he carried on, Kuru was getting up. Kanu went by and just clashed with Kuru as he was on the ground. The referee, after a lot of debating and discussion with everybody and the brother, decided Kizzy was going to be sent off, red card. Dean Brennan, the Barnet manager, wasn't happy with that. He's now in the stands as well. But the 10 men of Barnet have done well to withstand Grimsby's efforts in the first half. Some really stout defending in front of goalkeeper Slicker. But when called upon, Slicker has made some outstanding saves. And Barnet are being gritty. They're still in the game. With the scoreline at 0-0, expect more eventful things to happen in the second half.
Thank you very much, Stuart. Let's go to Stadium of Light. I think the players are coming out for the start of the second half. Sunderland against Crystal Palace. Matt Lockwood, very quickly in regards to this. Impressed by Palace's way that they approached the first half?
Yeah, no, they've played really well today. They're unlucky to actually be level at the break. They've had some good chances, look really dangerous going forward. Just one lapse of concentration defensively allowed Sunderland to score, but no, I think Glasner will be delighted with the way they've played.
Excellent second half commentary then about to start. DAB Digital Radio. Sunderland against Crystal Palace with Matt Lockwood and Emma Jones. Teams are going to be out for the second half here at Stamford Bridge in a moment or two. Was it 8 minutes they played at Tottenham Hotspur against West Ham at the end of that first half? Second half commentary on 94.9 FM to come. But let's catch up with what happened earlier on this afternoon. A win for Millwall, pushing them to within 3 points of the top two in the Championship earlier. A 2-0 victory, both goals coming in the second half against Watford. Here's the thoughts of the Lions manager, Alex Neil.
I think I thought we were very dominant in the first half. I think we only probably lacked a little bit more sort of creativity in final third play, which I thought our pressure and our press and our build-up deserved. I thought we did really, really well. And then obviously we take Casper off at half-time. You know, he's not at the stage at the moment where he can play a lot of minutes. But I thought he was excellent first half. And then second half was a little bit looser, because naturally we've got another forward in the pitch rather than an extra midfield player. And it made us more dangerous without having as much control probably. But I thought we deserved the goal. You know, I thought we had a chance right before it. Maka with a header right in the middle of the goal. And then I think the cross comes in for the right, a little bit of persistence, we land on it. Femi does what he does, shifts his feet, gets his strike away, and we end up taking the lead. And then from there, the game was in the balance a little bit. They had a bit of pressure, and then we hit them in transition. You know, great little sort of combination in the middle, great run, great pass. And Josh, we've missed him, you know, in terms of his link up, his presence, his movement, and a great finish for him. So yeah, really pleased for him.
When they're on such a good run, like how pleasing is that to come here and produce such a good performance? Because even in the first half I felt you were really dominant.
Yeah, I thought first half we were probably more dominant. I just think because we scored the goals in the second half it gives it a different spin. But yeah, no, it's really pleasing. You know, if we want to be challenging and we want to be up there and we want to try and fight and see where we can go this year, you need to come away to really tough places and try and get results. And it doesn't necessarily mean win the game and play brilliantly, but you need to make sure you stay in the game. You know, the talking point before it was, don't lose the game. You know, we've got a really big week coming up. Away games, don't lose them. Home games, let's try and win them. You know, and I think we'll always get chances. And even with the subs, you know, I could have put another midfield player on the second half, but Maka was really unfortunate not to start, and I put him on. I thought he did really well when he came on as well. And then obviously we tried to freshen the front line up, took Palo off for Ido, took Mika off for Josh, and I thought that helped us as well, just to give a little bit more impetus in the game.
That's Alex Neil's thoughts on that victory. Just getting off and underway for the start of the second half here at Stamford Bridge. 1-0 to Chelsea after that João Pedro goal on the 27th or so minutes. Earlier today it was a battling draw for Bromley at the top of League 2 away at Chesterfield, who are looking to get at least into the playoffs themselves. Here's the thoughts of the Ravens manager, Andy Woodman.
Yeah, I think before the game we'd probably have said it's a good point. I think when you miss a penalty or the keeper makes a great save in the 97th or 98th minute, you kind of feel that it's 2 points slipped away. But look, a clean sheet away at Chesterfield, there won't be too many teams do that here.
Any fears coming into this one? You've got the Manager of the Month award. Well done on that. But often that can be a bit of a trip up, can't it?
Yeah, you probably would have noticed we didn't make a big thing of it at our football club, and that, you know, that was driven by me really, because I don't. It's nice to get the accolades, but it's not me that's really should be getting the accolades. It's a collective of everybody, and we don't want the accolades of the month. We want the accolades at the end of the season, and that's pretty much the mindset of us as a group.
Second half defensively, I thought very resolute. Not much was going to get past.
Yeah, no, I think we've been very good defensively all season, and you know, the two centre halves have been immense today, and I thought the way they covered each other, made good interceptions, and they looked powerful and strong. So I thought, you know, they were fantastic, and both fullbacks were excellent as well.
I thought we were better side in the first half. Really enjoyed the work of Charles, Crowhouse and Arthurs. I thought they were great.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone keeps saying we're a bit one-dimensional and we're a long ball team and all of that, and it's brilliant because we're a lot more than that. And that obviously tells me that managers and opposition ain't doing their homework if that's where they think we are.
Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. They're obviously not doing the work that we do. If they just want to throw away lines that they know what we are, we're just a long ball team. I think we're a lot more than that. And long may it continue, everyone keeps thinking that.
I mean, we touched on the defence. It's another clean sheet, isn't it? So that's got to be pleasing.
Absolutely. I mean, look, promotions are won on clean sheets, and that's a good clean sheet away from home, and that could be a very vital point.
And the penalty, of course, you could have won it right at the end. How disappointing was that?
Well, it's always disappointing when you get a chance right in like that and a penalty and the keeper saves it. You know, that is always a, you know, makes ifs and maybes. But Nicky Kabamba, you know, we're well in credit to Nicky. He's pulled us out a few holes already this season. So, you know, that's the joys of being a striker.
Thank you. So that's the thoughts of Matt Gray, the Bromley manager, after that draw earlier today. Did have a chance to win it through Nicky Kabamba. We're going to head back to the commentary game on 94.9 FM here on Total Sport on a Saturday afternoon. We're off and underway for Stamford Bridge. Chelsea leading by a goal to nil, and West Ham United 1-0 up against Tottenham Hotspur. Paul Mortimer and Nick Godwin. Teams are coming out.
Oh dear, Phil. You know what Thomas Frank's done?
No.
You know what he's done? He's going to change the game. He's going to turn it on its head. You know who he's brought on?
No, go on, tell us.
Yves Bissouma. He hasn't played all season for Spurs.
Is he playing up front?
I think Thomas Frank might be trying to edge himself towards the exit. No, he's come on for
Pedro Neto.
Archie Gray. No, he hasn't come on for Pedro Neto. They could do with Pedro Neto, Phil. I can tell you that for nothing.
Yeah, well, he's just flashed one over the top of the bar here, Nick. That's why I was mentioning him. But Archie Gray was he got a booking, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He did get a booking, but I'm not sure. Anyway, thanks, Bill. We'll try and bring you the news of an Yves Bissouma hat-trick in the second half. Well, Paul, you said he had to do something and he wasn't sure what to do. I mean, bringing on Yves Bissouma is a sticking plaster at best.
I understand why he's brought Bissouma on.
Yeah, I get it.
For me, Archie Gray was carrying a knock, and I think he's injured. That's the only, because he was one of their best players. Yeah. He's injured. But the way they played, you know, normally a manager will say, "We'll give you 10 minutes to sort yourselves out, and we're going to make changes if it has improved." the way they performed in the first half, they didn't deserve the 10 minutes.
No,
there should have been changes at half time. They did not deserve it.
I don't think you can send 10 of those players out again.
Absolutely not.
If your Spurs having played like that. West Ham nearly forced West Ham into a bit of a pickle inside their penalty area again, but it's a free kick to Spurs. Conor Gallagher got fouled. Goodness me. Right, here's the Spurs lineup. Bakary in goal. Back four of Porro, Romero, Van der Ven and Spence. Gallagher and Basuma in midfield with Audebert, Simon and Tell behind Kolo Muani up front. A reminder that Richarlison has done his hamstring, so he's not fit. Still no Solanke, even though he's on the bench. It would appear he can't last 45 minutes. Kolo Muani is going to chase this back headed by Todibo back to the goalkeeper Areola, who is in goal for West Ham. A back four of Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Mavropanos and Skulls in midfield. Souček and Fernandez, Bowen, Pablo and Somerville behind Castellanos as the main striker. On the bench for Spurs, Kinski, Dragusin, Danso, Udogi, Bergvall, Solanke, Spence and Scarlett. And for West Ham, Hermadsen, Walker-Peters, Kilman, Julio, Wilson, Rodriguez, Potts, Kante and Mayers. Spurs trail West Ham, who have only won once away from home this season by 1-0. There was prolonged booing at half-time. And yes, while I understand that Yves Bissouma might be the solution to replace Archie Gray, I think allowing the rest of the Spurs players to continue in the way that they were playing really is not something that should be allowed. Here's Porro coming down the right-hand side now for Spurs. They've got a lot to prove, these Spurs players, in the remaining minutes of this contest. Audebert gets dispossessed. Todibo concedes a throw-in. And as you mentioned, Paul, if they do get the 10 minutes, they need to do something with those 10 minutes very quickly.
I'm expecting urgency and tempo and desire and really getting after West Ham.
Bissouma does well to feed this forward for Spence. As I said, it's his first appearance in a Tottenham shirt this season. Here's Tell charging into the penalty area, easily dispossessed by Bowen. Bowen easily dispossessed by Tell. Here's Bissouma again, wants to shoot, does shoot. Oh, and Areola grabs it at the second attempt. But it is, ladies and gentlemen, for those that can hear my voice, a shot on target for Tottenham Hotspur after 47 minutes.
Listen to the response to the fans. It's a simple shot, and the fans have roared because they just haven't seen enough of that. And that's what they've got to do more, is they've got to start getting forward and taking risks and gambling. This is West Ham they're playing.
The Tottenham Hotspur supporters were treated to an appearance by members of the Memphis Grizzlies team at half-time, NBA team. They're playing the Orlando Magic tomorrow at the O2 Arena. So in this city, they turned up to watch a bit of soccer this afternoon. It's an NBA league game as well, apparently. So if you've got tickets for that, I hope you enjoy it. As for the Memphis Grizzlies, who had to watch that first 45 minutes, they might have been thinking we'll put on a bit of a better show at the O2 tomorrow. Dave Victor has goal news at Leyton Orient.
And against the runner playing with his first clear-cut chance of the game, it was Jack Marriott who grabbed Reading's equaliser in the 52nd minute after a quickly taken free kick. It is Leyton Orient 1, Reading 1.
Thank you, Dave. Here comes Spurs trailing 1-0 with Spence, and overlapping is Tell on the left, approaching the edge of the West Ham box into Simon, given back to Spence, who's cut in field. He's done quite well here. Spence shoots wide, but there is a little bit more direct running, a little bit more positivity from Spurs at the start of this second half. There couldn't have been much less.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's better-ish, let's say. You know, we can't ask for any more than that at the moment. I think we should be demanding more than that, to be honest. But that seems to be what they're doing, what they're giving at the moment. It's better, but it's got to be even more than that.
In goes Van der Ven. Oh, this has been clipped over the top for West Ham. Porro does well to tidy this up, and there's been a goal at Charlton. Louis Mendes.
And the Addicts only needed a minute against 9 men in the second half to have the lead. It's Sonny Carey who makes it Charlton 1, Sheffield United 0. Lyndon Dykes with his first touch for the club heads it across. Carey volleys home from the edge of the box. Charlton 1, 9-man Sheffield United 0.
Thank you very much, Louis. Here comes Spurs. Spence down the left, moving forward. Simon outside him, 2 in the box. Seymour waits and then feeds it forward for Spence again into the penalty area, challenged by Bowen. It's kept in play by Spence by the corner flag. Needs some help from Basuma, who puts it out of play.
Well, it's enterprising play.
Yeah,
they're trying.
Energy is being expended,
exactly
isn't it?
Right. You know, they're trying, and that's better. But again, the lack of quality from a team who you expect quality from in those areas is the worry for me. I think West Ham, the mistake West Ham would make is start slowing things down, and that will only, I think, work against them. They've got to carry on playing, because if they get it right, there's goals in this for them. Spurs are going to start holding a higher line, which people like Somerville and Bowen will love. So what they've got to do is read the game situation, sit in, sit tight, and play difficult to beat for the first 10-15 minutes. Spurs will have to start taking risks. They're going to have to, Nick.
Here comes Porro down the channel for Gallagher. Gallagher gets pushed off the ball by Fernandez. No foul, says the referee. No foul, says Paul Mortimer. Spurs still have it.
No, that's a foul.
Oh, that is a foul. Sorry,
that's a foul. That's a definite foul.
Well,
he hasn't. It's not shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
He's caught him on the left two on his back. Is this a foul? But the ref's not in a good enough position to see it.
There you go. Audebert dispossessed. Simon wins it back. And he's driving to the middle of the field here for Spurs. Caught by Jared Bowen. It's a free kick to Tottenham and a yellow card for the West Ham skipper. This is 30 yards from goal, very central. And Simon is still down.
It's a team foul again. Fernandez gives the ball away, looking for a foul again, and that's what causes this. He doesn't get the ball at all, and they're painful ones as well, because Simon doesn't really see it coming. They are painful ones, so he could be in a bit of pain here, I have to say.
Gallagher wanted a free kick earlier, didn't get it, but Xavi Simon has got one now. And now this is interesting. Dominic Solanke is being spoken to by Thomas Frank. I mean, I almost don't care if Dominic Solanke is fit or not. From a Spurs perspective, you just think this front four has not worked from the word go. So change it. It has to.
For me, it should have changed at half time.
Can't be any worse.
It should have changed at half time. It was not working 20 minutes in. Let's be honest. It just was not working 20 minutes in, and I don't know why he's waited. I just don't know.
Can we ban Mick McCarthy impressions re-Spurs at the moment? I've had it on social media. I've now had it in my ear from the producer of this programme. Whenever I utter a phrase remotely approximating to "it can't get any worse," people cannot help themselves. Mick McCarthy has done many things in football, many things. Simon's still being got up, by the way, but the one thing he will almost certainly exist in the online world for more than anything else is him going, "It can."
Is that just to irritate you, is it?
It's not, I don't know why, it doesn't irritate me, but this just keeps coming all quarters. As I said, I've had it on social media. I almost said it myself, actually, earlier in the half, but I did. Well, I did, but I didn't say. I didn't say it in a Mick McCarthy accent with that rather roguish look in his eye when he's "it can." But anyway, Simon's still not back. He is now. He's just getting up to his feet. Changes incoming for Spurs. Applause for Simon. He looks as if he's going to be okay. And then a free kick for Tottenham. It's the West Ham fans who are still making the noise. And I'd say that Solanke is still got his bib on, but he's being shown some footage of things on the iPads that they have down there on the Tottenham bench. And Simon's going to have to go off before he comes back on. We've had almost 10 minutes of the second half here on the home of London football. This is BBC Radio London, and Pedro Porro is standing over this free kick. It's, as I said, very central. It's a long way out, and it's played short by Porro to Spence, and now Tell on the left, running at Wan-Bissaka. Into the box he goes. On the outside, in comes the cross, headed away by Fernandez. Comes back out to Tell, who keeps it in play on the touchline. Four still in the box as Tell drives at Wan-Bissaka once again. Wan-Bissaka blocks this cross, comes back out to Tell, and having their own little individual tussle there. Porro goes past 2, manages to dig it out to Tell, who goes at Wan-Bissaka again, back to Porro with a shooting chance, that's deflected and is hacked up in the air. As far as Romero is going to try and keep it alive, Skulls is with him. The two of them are battling for it on the touchline. Spurs still have the ball. Porro gives it to Spence on halfway. Spence locking West Ham into their own third at the moment. This is Simon running at the edge of the box. 2 defenders around him, and then coming back is Pablo to block the ball and make a challenge. Tell does well, a glide past 2, then to Simon, back to Tell. Can Van de Ven get on the end of this? No, it's put behind by Wan-Bissaka. Tottenham corner. Let's quickly go to the Stadium of Light and Emma Jones.
I still want one here. Neither manager has made a change yet. We are 62 minutes in. Remains Sunderland 1, Palace 1.
Thank you, Emma. Commentary continues on digital radio. Matthias Tell is in no hurry to take this corner. We're going to go to Stamford Bridge in a second. Corner played short to Simon. Back to Tell in a crossing position. Cuts it back. Oh, and the pass is under hit to Porro. They basically played it to Fernandes, and here come West Ham on the counter-attack. Pablo stretching his legs down the left, but Vicario claims and clears, and then there's a foul on the halfway line. Souček involved, Van de Ven as well. Yellow card for Van de Ven for a late challenge on Jared Bowen inside the centre circle. And while they sort all this out, Van de Ven, the latest player to go in the book, he's starting to chuck yellow cards out like confetti. Will go to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea-Brentford, Phil Parry.
Blues still leading by a goal to nil, scored in the first half by João Pedro. Staccato second half, couple of changes made by the home team, and best chance really for Schade, set up by Matthias Jensen. 1-on-1 for the German, hit it straight against the goalkeeper. Just like in the first half, spurning a great chance. It's still 1-0 Chelsea.
Thank you, Phil. So Romero and Van de Ven both on yellow cards for Tottenham. Bowen and Castellanos both on yellow cards for West Ham. Gray was also booked. He's been sent off. Free kick to the Hammers inside the centre circle. Mavropanos to take it. They still lead Tottenham by a goal to nil here on the home of London football, BBC Radio London. Here's Mavropanos' ball out to the flank. Bowen tries to get on the end of it, but he misses it, so does everybody else. And it's going to be a throw. Let me just have another look at Dominic Solanke. Well, he's now got his training top off, and he's sitting down, but isn't coming on yet. Out of play for another West Ham throw in Tottenham territory, and we'll go to Ellen Road. Here's Mark Taylor.
It's still 0-0 after 63 minutes. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has volleyed just wide for Leeds from 6 yards out. That was a real let-off for Fulham. Leeds 0, Fulham 0.
Thank you, Mark. Here comes Spurs. Simon's giving it away again. Bowen for Souček, round the corner to Wan-Bissaka. Is he going to get to this by the corner flag? He is, just sending across, and then a bicycle kick over the top by Pablo from the edge of the penalty area, and it's still Spurs 0, West Ham 1. We are going elsewhere. Is it Stoke? Oh, it's not, it's the Valley, I beg your pardon. Louis Mendes.
10 minutes into the second half, it's still Charlton 1, Sheffield United 0. The Blades down to 9 men, of course, after 2 red cards in the first half. Campbell nearly made it 2 for the Addicts. His shot towards the near post, palmed wide by Michael Cooper. Still Charlton 1, Sheffield United 0.
Didn't want to feel you'd been left out, Louis. That wasn't my intention at all, so sorry if you had the remotest idea. The boos here are because Spurs are dwelling on the ball as they try and come forward. Van de Ven hurtles towards halfway and earns a free kick, which he wants to take quickly, and he does, to find Yves Bissouma. And now here's Romero on the halfway line. The Bet365 Stadium is our next destination, but Odebear's trying to make progress on the right, into Bissouma again, wide to Gallagher, level with the edge of the box, goes past his man. Going to clip across into the penalty area, headed away by Souček, only as far as Bissouma. Let's check in on QPR at Stoke. Sophie Mason.
And it's goalless here. Not a lot of football played. Second half marred by a lengthy delay for what looks like a pretty serious injury to Stoke's Divine Barmer. He's been stretchered off and replaced by Million Manhoof. It's Stoke 0, QPR 0.
Long ball forward for West Ham. Spencer's got to be careful. Bowen putting him under pressure. Back it goes to Vicario. who's going to get Spurs moving again. We're going to plough lane, and Izzy Gilligan.
Yes, AFC Wimbledon 0, Doncaster Rovers 0. A rather lively start to the second half. Alistair Smith had an early effort saved by Zander Clark, and then Nathan Bishop had to get his fingertips to Billy Sharp's strike at the other end. However, it's still goalless. AFC Wimbledon 0, Doncaster Rovers 0.
Dominic Solanke is coming on for Tottenham. Let's go to Brisbane Road and Dave Victor.
And another for Dom Ballard, and a wonderful finish after a good approach down the left-hand side for the O's. Dom Ballard with his 14th of the season. Leighton went second of the afternoon. Leighton went 2, Reading 1.
Somerville away into the penalty area here. Great challenge by Van der Ven. That is absolutely brilliant from Van der Ven, because Somerville was bearing down on goal. He seems to come out of the thin blue sky when he arrives like that, Van der Ven, and he saves the day for Tottenham. Here's Seymour through the middle of the field. Still Solanke waiting to come on. Audebert cuts in field, offloads to Bissouma. Good save by Areola. It was quite close to him, but Areola has to touch it round the post for a corner.
That's better play from Spurs. Started with Van der Ven in their own box, a wonderful defensive tackle, ended with a good strike from Bissouma. Good play from Audebert. Really lovely strike from Bissouma. See Solanke come on now. Not quite sure who he came on for though.
It was Matthias Tell who was replaced him. Tell came off, and I think he got a few boos as he left the playing area, which he doesn't look particularly impressed about.
Well, he's not been good enough.
No, he's not been good enough, and his team are in a massive hole.
He's not been good enough. It's as simple as that.
Porro with the corner.
Oh dear.
He tries to take it out to Audebert, and it all goes wrong, and Fernandes heads it away. If that was a training ground move, well, it can stay there.
Well, Nick, you've got two giants in the box. Put it on their head.
He comes across looking for Solanke, but can't quite find it. Gallagher with a little foot in there. Ball drops to Pedro. It's been won back by Audebert on that side. Kalimawani's gone to the right now with Solanke through the middle. Quite rugged play by Audebert initially, and then Pablo goes down and Bissouma's won it back. Spurs battling for control. Here's Seymour, challenged by Souček. Cleared away and out of play. West Ham at the moment hanging together, trying to protect this lead.
Yeah, they are. Spurs are trying to put their foot down, but again, it's just a lack of real quality, real lack of belief and quality. But they're pushing West Ham further and further back. Keep pushing West Ham deeper and deeper into their own box.
Spurs trail, but are coming forward. West Ham leading and desperate to hang on to this lead. Here's Porro's cross, looking for a header from Solanke! No, it's Romero! Romero heads it in! And Spurs are level! Looping ball from Porro to the far post, and Christian Romero comes streaming in to thump the header past Areola. Now a real test for West Ham and an opportunity for Tottenham. Spurs 1, West Ham 1.
Well, no real skill or expertise about this. Get the ball wide, set back, get a decent cross into the box. Simple as that. Centre half's up there, not really being marked, and it's a real simple header. It's a free header. He wants it more, I think, than Wan-Bissaka. In fact, Wan-Bissaka doesn't see him coming because he's a spare man up there, and he puts it in the net. And now belief might be coming back into Spurs.
West Ham sling a ball into the box. Comes out to Somerville on that left-hand side. It's a take on Porro. Somerville and Porro battle for it. Low cross coming in. And then there's a high foot by Castellanos on Gallagher. Free kick to Tottenham, which they take quickly. And Seymour is going to release Audebert down the right, but Areola's quick off his line to gather it.
No, it's a poor pass. Honestly, it is a terrible pass. It's a straight ball onto a straight run. Absolutely not. I mean, like I said, Simmons is a top quality player who just is struggling for me.
Yeah, he had moments against Aston Villa, but he's looked all at sea today. Here comes Spurs. Kalimawani crosses infield. There's enough of a touch by Mavropanos to take it away from his man. Here's Pablo moving over the halfway line. Bissouma back with him. Romero steps in and wins it. They want a foul. Do West Ham? They're not going to get one. And then in goes Mavropanos on Seymour, and that's going to be a free kick to Tottenham.
Should be a booking as well.
I wondered if there was going to be further sanction. Jared Gillett doesn't look that interested.
Oh, it's not that bad. He studs it. For me, if I'm West Ham, I'll take Pablo off. He's playing for Spurs. He just keeps giving the ball away. Keeps getting. He's causing them problems because he keeps giving the ball away. And Spurs are in the ascendancy at the moment. So what they've got to do, West Ham, sit in, see it out, and play sort of longer football. Somerville plays up front, hits Spurs on the break because they're pushing everyone forward now, Spurs.
Johnny Heisinger, Justin Cochran and Thomas Frank in furtive discussions on the Tottenham bench. They have a free kick halfway inside the West Ham half of the field. Porro to take it. We're going to go to the Stadium of Light in a second after this set piece. Porro's going to take. Spurs fans much more engaged now. Porro sends it in, headed away by Souček, only as far as Bissouma, who volleys it over the top. Couldn't get over it. Goal kick 1-1. Let's go to Sunderland. Emma Jones.
And Sunderland have taken the lead here. Robbie flicking it in on the underside of the crossbar. It bounced over the goal line. And Palace, who'd had the lead here, now 2-1 down at the Stadium of Lights.
Thank you, Emma. 66 minutes on the clock here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on BBC Radio London. It is 1-1. Oh, Simon's played that behind Spence and Bowen's after it. As you were mentioning, the number of players in this game who are doing their level best to help the opposition out. Cleared only as far as Fernandez. Here's Souček. Wide to Wan-Bissaka, who's cross, finds Castellanos, who volleys it wide. Well, they're still making chances, West Ham. Game's not over.
I have to say, I forgot Castellano was playing. He's just not been a factor, to be honest, the last 20 minutes. Good play. But that comes from in Spurs left-back position, them not putting the ball in Rowe's head.
No, Simon giving it away again.
Exactly, and not defending it properly, and it's given West Ham a chance.
Well, they're playing out from the back, Spurs, with a little bit more urgency. Now it's 1-1. Here's Kolo Muani, goes down under a challenge from
He's got to mind himself. Has he been booked already, Mavropanos?
He has not yet.
Because he's had 2 or 3 where he should have been booked by now.
There have been quite a few cards. It's a free kick just outside the centre circle. Yes, it's fascinatingly poised, this game between a team in 14th and a team in 18th at the start of the day. So yeah, the players that are on the pitch, just the 2 centre-halves for Spurs are booked. As Odegaard goes round his man, gets a cross in, blocked by Skulls. Another Tottenham corner, it's their 5th of the game. So yeah, Romero and Van der Ven, the only Spurs outfield players currently on yellows. Bowen and Castellanos on yellow cards for West Ham. Here's the corner. Porro to take it. Gallagher at the far post. Romero, Van der Ven and Solanke all in the 6-yard box. This is Fardin looking for Solanke. It's flicked away as far as Simon on that left-hand side, running at the edge of the penalty area. It's challenged by Skulls, but it comes out to Spence. Gallagher back to Spence again. He's going to dink this ball in. Romero round the back, heads it down, but not to another Tottenham player. Somerville has tried to run this clear, but it's been recycled by Kolo Muani, who then runs it out of play. Well, we've got 20 minutes to go, and it is 1-1. Spurs equalising through Christian Romero after Crescencio Somerville put West Ham in front in the first half. Reminder that elsewhere we've got commentary of Sunderland against Crystal Palace on DAB Digital Radio on Tuesday night. We're back here for Dortmund-Tottenham. There's loads of other stories to wrap up after 5 o'clock here on BBC Radio London. We've already told you that Millwall are into the top 4 in the Championship. Foul on Bissouma on halfway by Pablo. Free kick to Spurs. Bromley still top of the Chesterfield. Lots more to do here at Spurs. Here's Porro with a cross towards the far post, looking for Kole Muani, headed away by Wan-Bissaka. Comes to Spence, and now Spence is going to get this back, is he, from Simon? Well, he's been closed down, but he's still kept it alive. Kole Muani again gives it to Gallagher, back out wide to Simon, whose cross is blocked by Souček for another Tottenham corner, who are now applying pressure.
Well, they are. They're on top now, and it's about good decisions now, good quality now. And putting the ball in the right place and doing it sharp and quick.
Corner played short, given to Odobert, 25 yards from goal. Oh dear, did not trouble Alphonse Areola. You put that down as yet another wasted moment from a Spurs perspective.
Well, as I said to you before, decision making now. Is he a regular scorer from there? I doubt it. And that is just a terrible attempt, I've got to say. A really poor attempt. Put it in the box. Cause West Ham problems there. Don't defend well from set pieces and get the ball in the box. Go and make it difficult for them.
Gallagher trying to get away from Souček, and he's got away from Souček, who's hauled him back. That's a yellow card for Thomas Souček, who was sent off in this fixture earlier in the campaign. He's now in the book, and it's a free kick to Spurs, 25 yards from goal.
Had to do it because Gallagher's running at their back four right on the edge of the penalty area, so it's a team foul. He knew what he was doing. He knew that Gallagher had got the wrong side of him. He had to stop him by hook or by crook and had to take the booking.
Spurs fans sensing that they really now can turn this around. They weren't far off turning it around in the second half against Aston Villa in the FA Cup. The trouble was they were so awful in the first half, they found themselves 2-0 down and unable to turn it around. They were just as bad, I can assure you, in the first half here. West Ham only got the one goal, and that may well prove to be crucial.
You know, Nick, at this level, you cannot be as bad as Spurs were in the first half and expect to win games, but this West Ham side gives you chances.
Spurs free kick, Porro, right-footed, dinks it, headed over the top by Romero, who, having watched it sail over, then goes down clutching the side of his head, and he's lying on his back. There's been a goal at Stamford Bridge. Here's Phil.
Chelsea double-0 lead. Cole Palmer from the penalty spot. Dreadful play out from Brentford. Nathan Collins leaving his teammate and compatriot Kevin Keller on the stretch. He poked it into the path of substitute. The substitute who'd come off the bench to go in and try and play it away, did the Irish goalkeeper. He caught Liam Delap, pointed to the penalty spot, John Brooks, clear as day and dispatched neatly. It's 2-0 Chelsea.
Let's go to the Stadium of Light. Emma Jones.
Great goal kick. It remains Crystal Palace 2-1 down here at the Stadium of Light. A great chance, though, a moment ago for Trey Hume to get a third for Sunderland, denied by the fingertips of Dean Henderson. It is still Sunderland 2, Crystal Palace 1.
17 minutes to go. It is 1-1 here. Let's go to Ellen Road, where Fulham are taking on Leeds. Mark Taylor.
12 minutes to play here. Leeds 0, Fulham 0. It's better from the visitors now. Emil Smith-Rowe was unable to capitalise, though, when the Leeds keeper was caught outside his penalty area. Leeds 0, Fulham 0.
Thanks, Mark. Solanke tries to turn that round the corner for Odobert. But coming across to tidy up is Todibo. And Areola will clear towards halfway, only as far as Jed Spence, who initially can't control it and then challenges Castellanos. It's a free kick to West Ham on the halfway line. We will go to the Valley and Louis Mendes.
There are 90 minutes left to go. It's still Charlton 1, Sheffield United 0. The 9 men still will win this game. They just had a long throw that they sent into the penalty area. Charlton dealt with it at the other end. Carey with a shot that deflected just wide. Still Charlton 1, Sheffield United 0.
Somerville left side, the goal scorer for West Ham, goes back to Skulls, and then Todibo has to scamper because Solanke is putting him under pressure. West Ham, who led for so much of this game, have been pegged back, but they're asking more questions. Pablo tries to get hold of this, in goes Romero. Souček finds Wan-Bissaka attacking the edge of the box, and now Pablo tries to get on the end of it. Important intervention there by Spence, who got there before. Castellanos as well. Not quite sure what it was Pablo actually who made the run. I'm not sure what Wan-Bissaka was doing on the edge of the Spurs penalty area. But there we are. Let's pop to the Bet365 and Sophie Mason.
Still goalless here. QPR weathering a spell of Stoke pressure as they're out for vengeance following that injury to Divine Umbama. Bae Junho with the only shot on target and a bit of a lacklustre one at that. It's Stoke 0, QPR 0.
And what about Wimbledon against Doncaster? Izzy Gilligan.
Yeah, 83 minutes played here and it's AFC Wimbledon 0, Doncaster Rovers 0. There's a sense of urgency on the pitch now as both teams are desperate for a win. It feels like Wimbledon are the more likely. They certainly look more organised, but the visitors have had some bright moments too. 83 minutes played, Wimbledon 0, Doncaster Rovers 0.
West Ham throw deep inside Tottenham territory. It's flicked on by Castellanos for Bowen, who tries to bring this down. Hacked away by Bissouma in a hurry towards the halfway line. A bouncing ball that Todibo can't deal with. Kole Muani's managed to get the better of him. And here is Odegaard. Tries to move in field. Gets it wide to Porro. Right side level with the edge of the West Ham box. Here's the cross. Punched away by Areola. Only as far as Bissouma. And Gallagher trying to muscle his way into the box, but Todibo does well to clear initially. Oh, and then Wan-Bissaka's given it away. Bissouma goes down. Free kick to Spurs. Let's go to Brisbane Road. Leyton Orient leading, last we heard from Dave Victor.
And they still have a single goal advantage, although Reading went very close to an equaliser in the 69th minute. Across from Doyle. Marriott just inches wide of the target. Orient 2, Reading 1.
Spurs waste the free kick. Bowen runs it over the halfway line, goes to ground, gets fouled by Spence. West Ham free kick on the halfway line. Then we're going to see some activity on the West Ham bench. Before we do that, to Blundell Park and Stuart Smith.
Post. It's still 1-0 here to Grimsby Town. They scored about 25 minutes ago, actually, 7 minutes into the second half. And it was the fullback Sweeney with his left foot shot crept in. Since then, Barnet have really made a fist of it. They're still very much in this game, but it's Grimsby Town 1, Barnet 0.
Guido Rodriguez is going to come on for West Ham. One of the less effectual West Ham midfielders of recent years, in my view, as Bowen tries to get a cross in, does get a cross in.
It's a foul.
He's been caught by Spence and the referee has given it by the byline. Bowen stayed down. Romero is getting right in the referee's face and Jed Spence has a yellow card. It's about 5 yards from the edge of the penalty area. It's like a short corner in hockey, this is.
Yeah,
it's late, isn't it?
He doesn't get this wrong foot. It looks ugly, to be honest, and they always look worse than what they are. Romero's got to be careful though, because he's
on a yellow.
He's on the yellow, and he's trying to disrespect the referee a little bit. I understand he wants to back his teammate, but can't afford to lose him for games, I've got to say. But yeah, I mean, this is anyone's at the moment, isn't it? Oh, you know what gets me more than anything else is, if I'm a Spurs sub at this moment, I would be fuming, because I've got to be looking and thinking, I've got to bring something.
Yeah, if I can't get on today,
because they have been, you know, there's a 15-minute spell where they're livened up, but that apart, not been great. It's Pablo's coming off and should come off, by the way. He has not been good at all. I'm not quite sure. Is he a midfielder? Is he between? I'm not quite sure what he was. The only thing I know he did well was give the ball away.
Playing as a 10 today, I think, and.
That's not a 10 in my eyes.
No, well, he's taking his sweet time getting off the pitch.
Well, this is as quick as he's moved today.
I don't know if West Ham are going to try and wind the clock down, happy with a point. There's some way to go, though. One each, 12 minutes left. Free kick to West Ham on the byline. Rodriguez comes on. What are West Ham going to try and fashion here? Scarles is going to take this, whips it in, and it's headed behind at the near post by Van der Ven for a West Ham corner.
Not bad. He's looked to sneak it in that near post. Van der Ven's read it like he does. Van der Ven reads things really well, reads situations really well, and headed it off. These are the moments, to be honest, that West Ham have to make count.
Scarles with the delivery. Left-footed, whipped in, and Beccario claims it under no real pressure. Wants to distribute, and does send it high towards Odegaard, who gets something on that. So does Kole Muani. It's going to drop to Porro, who's offside. It's a free kick to West Ham inside their own half of the field. Well, this second half was kind of cantered along. Spurs better in the second half, but they couldn't have been much worse. West Ham will probably look back at some of those chances in the first half they didn't take.
I mean,
they could have buried Spurs.
Spurs are better in the second half, but West Ham has stopped playing. Yeah. That's the problem you had. West Ham has slowed things down. Like I said to you earlier on, they've slowed things down. They've actually stopped playing, and they haven't looked like. I mean, when's the last time you saw you name check Somerville? Not been in the game in the second half. Completely disappeared because they've sat in thinking about what they've got rather than what they could have if they nick another goal.
Here's Bowen coming forward for West Ham down the right, sends in a cross which is chested back by Porro to Vicario, and again Spurs asking their goalkeeper to move the ball downfield quicker. He doesn't. He presents it to Romero and Van der Ven, and here go Tottenham again. 9 minutes of the 90 to go here on BBC Radio London. It is 1-1. And here's Spence. He's going to try and dink this forward. Solanke on the charge. Can Solanke get there? It's a bit of a scramble, and it goes through and is swallowed up by Areola. And surging over the halfway line goes Rodriguez. Here is the lesser spotted Crescencio Somerville, deep inside his own half. He gives it to Scarles, and we'll go back to Brisbane Road and Dave Victor.
And a hat-trick for Don Ballard in the 84th minute. He found himself one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and he made sure 15 for the season, 3 for the afternoon. Leyton went 3, Reading 1.
A morale-lifting result by the sound of things for Leyton Orient and Dave Victor. Richie Wellens on the way after 5 o'clock here on BBC Radio London. Here's Scarles down the left, lifts in a cross. It's flicked up in the air off Castellanos and given to Vicario, who waves his players out of his box. Again, they want to get on with it, the Spurs fans. At the moment, it's still inside their own penalty area with Mickey van der Ven.
Well, funny, the fans had the players had the oomph for the fans because Vicario gets the ball. There is no one for him to throw it to. He wants to kick it long. There's no one making a run and telling him they want the ball.
Simon square for Gallagher. Bit of space for him now, who spreads it to the flank, and then Audebert can't get hold of it because Scarles has read the pass. Scarles doesn't really have anyone to offer it to. Comes back to this near side, and Porro. He has to go back into the back line, and Van der Ven. I can still see one of these two sides stumbling into a winner somehow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
by default.
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily say it would by a classic piece of invention, but it could still happen. Here's Gallagher, shoots, blocked by Todibo. Just turned and smashed it towards goal. The Frenchman was in the way. Porro sends it into the middle for Van der Ven. Spence now, faced by Bowen. Tries to dink it for Gallagher, who brings it down, and then he's going to hook it across goal. Nobody there. Kona Mawani. What about Simon? Goes down under a challenge. Referee doesn't give a penalty. It's a real scramble. West Ham have got rid of it, and then there's a foul. Free kick, West Ham. Rodriguez protests his innocence, but Jared Gillett seemed to have a good view of all of that, and there was quite a lot going on. I don't think Xavi Simon was fouled.
You feel sorry for the ref there, honestly. There was some diving going on there that would have done the Olympics proud, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he just waited for contact there. Simon just fell over.
Fall over. It's never a penalty. It's not that. But you weren't quite sure where it was going to pop out, actually, and that was the thing. But again, I look at West Ham, and they've put so much effort into the first 60 minutes. They look fatigued. They look tired. And there's got to be something coming from West Ham's bench. I would have suggested.
Yellow card for Nuno Espirito Santo there, I think. For what, we're not sure. Now they are checking something on VAR, and is it a handball?
Scarles, he does handle it. It does hit his arm, but I don't think
it's his fingers.
I don't think he means to do that.
No, his arm is outstretched, and as Gallagher nods the ball forward in the tangle, it's grazed his fingertips, really, Ollie Scarles. It's very much a VAR penalty award if it's given. They're not going to give that, are they? It's so micromanaging. I wonder if he'll get called over, the referee.
Or if he gets called over, it's all over.
Yeah, that usually ends up it being given.
No, he's not. He's not. Quite right. Common sense prevails.
There's been a red card at Plough Lane. Izzy Gilligan.
Yes, 93 minutes played here, and Joe Lewis has been shown a second yellow for a bad foul near the edge of his own box, but Doncaster Rovers failed to capitalise on the very well positioned free kick, and so it remains goalless here. AFC Wimbledon 0, Doncaster Rovers 0.
Thank you, Izzy. Game continues here. Spurs come forward with Kolo Muani, and he's got Solanke alongside him. Solanke in a foot race with Todibo. Todibo gets there first.
It's a poor pass from Muani, I've got to say, because he's allowed Todibo to get back in. Shouldn't really be. And it's been a case of that. Poor execution. When you're in a really good spot, poor execution has cost them time and time again.
No, it's not been a game of real quality, this, has it? Two teams in the bottom half of the Premier League in no form. It's kind of showed. Porro with the cross. It's a teasing effort and sliced away and behind by Mavropanos for a corner to Tottenham.
You know, it's a really good cross. No Spurs player is gambling. Someone gets across the near post there, it's a tap-in. They're all on their heels, waiting for it to land at their feet. Doesn't happen like that.
Porro with the corner. 4 minutes to go. 1-1. Here he goes with the right foot, sent out towards Audebert, who sets it, gives it back to Porro. And it goes out for another corner. As you were for Spurs. Second corner in quick succession. Porro to take it. There has been a late goal at Ellen Road, will be there in a second. Let's watch Porro's delivery down this right-hand side. Whole host of white shirts at the far post. Van der Ven, Gallagher as well. This is fired towards the far post. Simmons nods it down, stabbed away by Rodriguez. And what about that late one in West Yorkshire, Mark Taylor?
Leeds 1, Fulham 0 in stoppage time. Lucas Mecha, the substitute, has popped up at the back post and poked home a volley that will surely give Leeds the points. It's Leeds 1, Fulham 0.
Here comes Spurs. Porro down the right once again. Here's the cross lifted in towards Simon. Nodded down, can't get to the loose ball, and it's cleared by Fernandez, and then Basuma tries to give it back to a Spurs attacking player. It's come back to him again after Bowen almost got control of it, but Spurs are trying to lock West Ham in as the clock ticks up towards 90 minutes. It's 1-1. Lofted by Gallagher for Porro. Can he keep it in play? Oh, he's won a corner. Clever from Porro off Scarles, and he throws his hands at the south stand. The Spurs earn their 9th corner of the game.
Yeah, it's good play. I've got to say again, Gallagher, decent play. Porro does well. I think he's really good as a raiding fullback on his day. But can they get some quality? I feel for West Ham at the moment. I fear for them a little bit. They look like they're a boxer on the ropes waiting to be knocked out. They really do.
Another corner. Porro to take it. Bergvall to come on. But here's Porro's delivery. Looks for... never really put any of the West Ham defenders under pressure. Here he is again, Porro, on that right-hand side with Audebert outside him. This drops to Simon. Edge of the box. Shoots! Good save by Areola down to his right. That was goal-bound. Xavi Simon looks at the heavens. What a moment that would have been for him in a Tottenham shirt. But it's another corner.
And he'd have needed that to go in, if I'm honest. He'd have needed that to go, but it's a savable one. It's just too close to the goalkeeper. A goalkeeper of Areola's ability will save that. Yeah, it's savable. It's a good strike, but he should be saving that.
Close to him, turns it round the post. Another Spurs corner. Their 4th in a very short period of time. Porro with the right-footed in-swinger once again. 90 seconds of the 90 minutes to go. Almost a hush as Porro whips it in, headed away by Somerville as far as Simon. Oh, it's a poor pass back out to Porro, whose cross is deflected up in the air. Another real scramble. Comes out to Bissouma, 35 yards from goal. Audebert out wide to Gallagher in a crossing position. His efforts blocked by Rodriguez. Goes out for a Tottenham throw. Gallagher takes it quickly to Audebert. Kevin Danso would have loved to have taken that. He's about to come on. Here's Gallagher again. Another cross. Another block by Rodriguez. Another throw in. Is Gallagher going to take it, or is he going to leave it? Referee says you're taking it to the wrong place, and there's another ball on the pitch. So they'll restart. Are they going to make these changes now? Porro's going to take the throw. Bergvall is going to come on for Wilson Audebert. Wearing number 15. He was not entirely certain he was going to be fit for this. He comes on for Spurs, and Callum Wilson is going to come on for West Ham as well. And the poor old fourth official's got so much to do, he's got to hold up how long will be added on as well. But the change to West Ham is Castellanos coming off and Wilson coming on.
Yeah, he's not done enough for me, Castellanos. He's a lightweight centre forward, and I just don't think that's what West Ham need at the moment. Not quite sure what. You know, we've got some centre forwards that play better with a partner. He's not a lone centre forward,
right?
Because you have to have good movement or be lightning quick or have bulk back.
And he's neither of them. He's got neither of them. No. Okay.
Wilson, you watch, will cause problems because he does what centre forwards do. He can occupy the defenders.
6 minutes of added time added on by Jared Gillett. Throw in for Lucas Bergvall, the substitute, to take level with the edge of the West Ham penalty area. We're playing the first of the 6 minutes now. Bergvall waves people away from him. This is going to go long. Into the box it comes, towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's headed away. Bergvall sends it back into the mix. Here's Bissouma, and then Van der Ven tries to, Romero tried to, between them, volley it in. And the referee has said that there was a high foot, possibly from the bicycle kick. And that means it's going to be a free kick for Areola to take. 5 minutes left. We're in added time. Spurs and West Ham locked together at 1 each. How did it end at the Stadium of Light? Emma Jones.
It's finished here. Sunderland 2, Crystal Palace 1. Pino had given Palace the lead. Lefebvre with an instant response, and then Brobby getting the winner in the second half. Sunderland remain unbeaten at home. Crystal Palace haven't won in 10 games in all competitions. Sunderland 2, Palace 1.
1-1 here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. West Ham coming forward with Wan-Bissaka. They've been pushed back by Spurs for a long period. Here's the cross. Oh, it's going to drop to Wilson! Oh, and it's challenged by Porro. Callum Wilson unmarked, 7 yards out. And as he pulled the trigger, Porro slid in and made a goal-saving block.
Well, it's a wonderful block, I've got to say, because when it hits Wilson's chest, his eyes light up because he knows he's going to put that in the far corner. Out of nowhere, Porro sees the danger early and really does save his team, I think, because that would have definitely gone in and maybe been the end of the game.
Skulls with a corner for West Ham deep into stoppage time. Left-footed, clipped in, it's Hawke, and a real scramble, it's in! Wilson on the line! West Ham back in front in the 3rd minute of added time! Callum Wilson from point-blank range, the corner was slung in by Skulls, and the Tottenham defenders did not deal with it, and Wilson, who's just come on as a sub, pounces to give West Ham an absolutely priceless lead late on. The Tottenham fans look on in horror, and there is jubilation from the East Londoners on the far side. There are still a couple of minutes to go, but the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is now shaking with boos from the home supporters. It's Tottenham 1, West Ham 2 with very little time left.
And it's not a foul. I'm watching it now. Vicario's got to be stronger. He's just got to swat Wilson away. It's not, and he's just standing his ground, Callum Wilson. And there just isn't enough. In fact, no one has headed the ball. It's not
soft,
no foul. It is a soft goal.
They're checking offside now.
Well, that might be the saving grace for them. We'll have to have a look at that again.
We'll have to see. Callum Wilson wagging his finger at the away end. Has he scored a goal that could be absolutely terminal for Thomas Frank and may give West Ham the little bit of light that they have so craved over the course of these last 10 games? We're not being shown the offside. It just says checking possible offside. Max Kilman's going to come on. I don't quite know how this is going to, whether there's a foul. Is there a foul on Vicario? I don't think there is. The goal looks as though it's been given, and the game will restart. The West Ham fans celebrate all over again, and what a story this would be for the Hammers, whose last Premier League win was on the 8th of November against Burnley. Fernandes coming off and Kilman coming on.
He'll take an age to get off the pitch too, Fernandes. Look, he should just get off the pitch, and he knows it. and this is what causes problems. Just come off the pitch.
Yeah, now he's doing a lap of honour. Cheers, Fernandes. It's been a torrid time to be a West Ham supporter, but I have to tell you, if you were a West Ham fan looking at the fixtures in 2026 and thinking, if we could have a win somewhere against someone, where would it be? And I have to tell you, the answer is here against Tottenham Hotspur. And if that is what West Ham could do as the game restarts, we're only supposed to have 6 minutes and we're in the 6th minute now. West Ham need to hang on and Spurs need something from somewhere. It's powder puff defending from Spurs that's allowed Tottenham to concede. But what will this next couple of minutes provide for those West Ham supporters who went all the way to Wolves and watched them play like drains? They've travelled the country, seen them win once at Nottingham Forest in August. Every time after that there have been disappointments. Spurs need to find something right now. Bergvall breaking forward. Oh, he's done well, Bergvall, into the penalty area and then bundled behind by Mavropanos at the near post. It's a Tottenham corner in the 7th minute of added time.
Wonderful skill from Bergvall. This is the type of stuff they've not had from the wide areas. People taking risks and really causing problems for defenders.
There could be a minute left, there could be 5 seconds left, I don't know. Here's Porro, right-footed, sends this into the box. Up goes Romero, wants a corner, won't get one, it's a goal kick. And Spurs fans start to head away. The West Ham supporters on the other side get ready to celebrate what would be an absolutely totemic victory if they can hang on. Where this leaves Thomas Frank, I'm not sure. If you're Spurs, you cannot play like this and lose to West Ham at home. It just won't stand.
Well, it could be the beginning of the end, I'm afraid, because I just think the substitutions were all too late for me. He could have made them at half-time. They were dreadful. 20 minutes in the second half, maybe 10-15 minutes, they were at it, and you thought, I feared for West Ham, but a powder puff goal you've given away at the end there. Goalkeeper not strong enough for me, and
Areola clears, problems. Game continues, drops on the halfway line. Seymour, all eyes on Jared Gillett. When will he end the game and possibly give West Ham a priceless victory? Spurs attack, perhaps for the last time. Solanke wide to Spence, sends it forward for Seymour. Back to Spence. He's going to try and send it out wide to Porro. Still we play on. Porro, his cross is blocked by Skulls. Callum Wilson says to Jared Gillett, go on ref, blow up, time's up, give us the 3 points. Spurs desperate for something, it's a long throw from Bergvall, now or never surely, into the box it goes, runs awkwardly, might drop to Gallagher, Gallagher with the cross is blocked, comes out to Bergvall, sends it high towards the far post, Kolo Muani jumping, oh what a scramble off the line by Rodriguez, still not clear, is it going to drop to Kolo Muani? No! West Ham hanging on for dear life, and Todibo just puts it into the stands. Tottenham still get the chance for a throw, do they? No, Kolo Muani's down injured. He's got to get up. Spurs need to keep this game going.
Yeah, he's got to get up quick. Don't worry about it. He's got to get him up.
He's just got to get on his feet.
Game up. Get up. Come on, get on with the game. Can't waste time like that.
Throw into Spurs. 9th minute of added time.
Oh, get it in there.
Bergvall hesitating.
Oh,
why are you hesitating? Comes out to Spence. Lofts it high. It goes over everybody. It's a goal kick, and that will surely be it, and it is. A huge victory for West Ham United. Given to them in stoppage time by Callum Wilson. It's a second away victory of the season for the Hammers. It's a first Premier League victory since the 8th of November. It is massive for Nuno Espirito Santo, but just as big as it is to West Ham, it is terrible, disastrous for Tottenham Hotspur, who lose at home yet again this season. They've only won twice in front of their home supporters. The inquest into what happened is starting on the pitch right now. Thomas Frank talking to Guillermo Vicario, and the Spurs manager is out there trying to talk to his players. But many of the Spurs supporters have left, but those that have stayed are letting letting this team and this manager and this board of directors know that it isn't good enough. Their first half performance was dreadful. Spurs' second half performance was a little bit better, but not really at the standard that was required. And in the end, they're undone by a soft piece of defending from a corner that allowed Callum Wilson right in front of the line to stab the ball over. As I mentioned, huge for West Ham. Through in the FA Cup last week and a win at Tottenham. It doesn't get much better than this from a West Ham perspective, but equally, from Spurs' point of view, it does not get any worse. Beaten at home by West Ham United by 2-1.
Total Sport. BBC Radio London.
Thank you very much to Nick Godwin and Paul Mortimer. We will go back to Morton in a little while to try and round up what's happened there, but a big day for West Ham United, big win for them and a huge defeat for Tottenham Hotspur, who sit 14th in the table, just 10 points above the relegation spots as a consequence of that. Here at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea back to winning ways, their first win since the 13th of December at home, beating Brentford and going above Brentford by 2-0. João Pedro in the first half, after a Coyote clearance was blocked back into his path and he rattled it into the back of the net. In the second half, a penalty awarded. Liam Delap fouled by Queven Keller after a poor bit of play out really from Brentford. Nathan Collins, who seemed to lose his head a little bit in the second half, left his goalkeeper a little bit short. On the stretch, he put it into the path of Delap, who was fouled, and Cole Palmer stroked home. But how Brentford didn't get something out of the game, I do not know. Kevin Schade had 2 gilt-edged chances. One he tried to tee up when he should have gone for goal in the first half for Mikael Damsgaard. The second one-on-one just into the second half. Again, a really poor bit of finishing. We saw Thiago head wide from a free header, and also Matthias Jensen with 2 good chances that he should have done better with. And Brentford suffered a defeat, second successive away defeat at Stamford Bridge, 2-1 last season and 2-0 today. Also suffering defeat, Fulham away at Leeds United. Here's Mark Taylor.
Leeds 1, Fulham 0. A goal in stoppage time has given the home team all 3 points. Lucas Mecha with a far post volley doing the damage. In the first half, Brendan Aronson had burst through for Leeds, but he couldn't hit the target. After the interval, Dominic Calvert-Lewin had gone close with a volley. Emil Smith-Rowe tried one from distance for Fulham, with the Leeds keeper stranded. Alas, to no avail. Leeds were able to seize the moment. Mecha came on and struck the deciding blow. Leeds 1, Fulham 0.
Leeds United up to 25 points now, and in decent form, aren't they, under Daniel Farke, and Fulham being beaten there today by Leeds. 2-0 to Chelsea here, 2-1 to West Ham United at Tottenham Hotspur. Earlier today, Millwall were 2-0 winners against Watford. It's full-time whistles are going elsewhere around the country, with full-time whistles blowing and teams finding out their fate, including at the Valley. An extraordinary game for Louis Mendes watching Charlton against Sheffield United. Louis.
Yeah, I was quite glad to hear the final whistle as well. Charlton 1, 9-man Sheffield United 0. Absolutely bizarre game here in SE7. It's the first win in 5 for the Addicts, only a second in 12 championship games, but my goodness, they made hard work of it. Sheffield United absolutely battered Charlton in that first half when they had 11 men. Bamford had a couple of big chances. Kamensky made some good saves. Samare hit the post, but then on 35 minutes, Samare was shown a straight red card for a horrible challenge on Harvey Nibs. Looked a nasty one for the Charlton man. Just 10 minutes later, a second straight red card in that first half of the visitors. Japhet Tanganga, the former Millwall man, on his return to South East London, a straight red card for an aerial challenge with Carey. The nine men conceded a minute into the second half. Lyndon Dykes, with his first touch as a Charlton player, laid on the assist for Carey to volley home from the edge of the box. But my word, did Charlton make hard work of this. They didn't fashion many clear-cut chances in this second half. Sheffield United, twice they were countering and Charlton had to give away yellow cards to stop it. They also had a long throw right at the end when Cooper, the goalkeeper, came up. Charlton survived that. It's a win. That's all you need to know at full time. Charlton 1, Sheffield United 0.
Elsewhere today, Man United beating Man City 2-0 in the early kick-off in the Premier League, and Burnley drawing away at Liverpool. 1 apiece in that game. Liverpool took the lead, Burnley equalising into the second half. Elsewhere in the Championship then, QPR have been away at Stoke City. Sophie Mason watching this one.
And it's ended Stoke 0, QPR 0. Gritty defensive performance wins Julian Stefan's side a point on the road. It's been a battle at the back against a Stoke side who enjoyed 74% of the possession. And the R's even had a couple of chances to nick it at the death as well. Substitute Keely Adamson launched one over the bar. Richard Kone scuffed one into the hands of Bazunu. And despite 10 minutes of added time, the points are shared with a goalless draw that keeps QPR at 11th in the Championship. Stoke 0, QPR 0.
Thank you, Sophie. Let's go into League One. Plough Lane, AFC Wimbledon against Doncaster. Izzy Gillingham.
Yes, and it's a last-minute winner for the visitors that's the difference today. It finished Wimbledon 0, Doncaster 1. Not much separated the sides for large portions of the game, and neither side looked particularly likely to cause any damage. But the momentum shifted when Joe Lewis was shown a second yellow in the 90th minute. The visitors then failing to capitalise on the subsequent very well-positioned free kick. But moments later, in the 99th minute, everything changed for the Rovers as Owen Bailey's looping header went over Nathan Bishop's head and into the back of the net, causing elation amongst the travelling supporters. The loss sees Wimbledon slip to 17th with only 1 win in their last 12, and they sit just 2 points above the relegation zone, where today's winners have moved up a place to 22nd. Full time, AFC Wimbledon 0, Doncaster Rovers 1.
Izzy, thank you very much indeed. So another defeat late on for AFC Wimbledon at home to Doncaster. Dave Victor has been at Brisbane Road for Leyton Orient against Reading.
And Leyton Orient getting their first win in 5. It finished Leyton Orient 3, Reading 1. It means that the O's move up to 16th, 3 points clear of the relegation zone and 7 points off the playoffs after a hat-trick from Don Ballard. Had the ball in the back of the net after just 5 minutes. A mistake from goalkeeper Pereira, but he was ruled offside, and again offside 30 minutes later. This time he got onto the end of a very good corner from Charlie Wellens, but he was not to be denied. In the 44th minute, he found himself one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and it was an excellent finish. A header in the 64th minute after a good ball into the box from Theo Archibald. He then found himself one-on-one with the goalkeeper in the 84th minute, and he grabbed his hat-trick and secured his 15th of the season, making him the top scorer in League One. And would you believe it, Phil? He could have had a fourth. He was denied by the woodwork in injury time. Leyton Orient 3, Reading 1.
Wow, what a day that would have been. Let's go into League 2 then, shall we? Barnet all the way at Grimsby for Stuart Smith.
Yeah, Grimsby Town 1, Barnet 0. That's not really the story of the game, which changed after 11 minutes. The referee deciding after much debate to send off Joe Kizzy when possibly Kanu could have gone instead, but I don't think either of them deserved, let alone a yellow, certainly not a red, but that made a big change. Dean Brennan was also sent off at that stage. So Barnet down to 10 men, but they're pushing well and stuck it out at 0-0 at half time. But Grimsby Town got the only goal from an unusual situation. Jaden Sweeney, the left back, who in the second half was playing on the right hand side, turned infield from the right hand side and just a left foot shot beyond goalkeeper Kieran Slicker, who had an excellent game once more, making several really good saves. Excellent defensive work from Barnet for most of the game, save for that one shot that went into the back of the net. They got bodies in the way, the goalkeeper did well, they just held off Grimsby Town, but the only thing that was wrong, they couldn't really test Jackson Smith in that Grimsby Town goal. I don't think Dean Brennan's going to be a happy man tonight, not about his team, who I think played very well, lots of spirit, lots of determination, but really not happy with that sending off after 11 minutes. Grimsby Town 1, Barnet 0.
Total Sport. BBC Radio London.
So no chippy tea then for the Barnet players. Maybe they deserve, though, a little bit of reward for their efforts today, even if they came away with nothing when it comes to the full-time score in the National League this afternoon as well. Some scores that are of significance, in particular Sutton United getting a 1-1 draw with Forest Green Rovers, and Wealdstone beating Woking by a 1-0. It's BBC Radio London, it's Total Sports, almost 5:15. What a day that we've had. Millwall climbing climbing to within touching distance of the top two in the Championship. Frustration for Queen's Park Rangers in that division, though they are dealing with lots of injuries. And a win for Charlton against 9 men. 9 times, for those who like Ferris Bueller. 9 men for Sheffield United, but Charlton coming out on top in the end. A late bit of heartbreak for AFC Warner, lose again at home, this time to Doncaster Rovers, but Leighton Orient and Don Ballard have a good day as they, with his goals, beat Reading. Bromley had to be content with a 0-0 draw in League Two, and a goal for Grimsby, the only between the two teams, as the Mariners beat the Bees. Barnet losing away, looking to do the league double and not quite being able to achieve it. In the Premier League, Chelsea have climbed above Brentford in the battle for West London supremacy with a 2-0 win here. João Pedro and Cole Palmer with the goals against the Brentford side that really should have got something out of this game, created far too many chances not to. In the big London derby in North London, more trouble for Thomas Frank. A 2-1 home defeat to West Ham United. Callum Wilson getting the winner for the Hammers very late on in that game, and Palace, despite taking the lead, lose at Sunderland. Fulham defeated away at Leeds United as well. Lots to talk about, lots to discuss between now and upload at 6 o'clock.
Total Sport. BBC Radio London.
Right, well, what a day that we have had on BBC Radio London. We are going to try and digest everything that has happened in all of our games, but I think the big derby between North and East London was hugely significant. Spurs fan Billy T from the Hometown Glory podcast was at the game this afternoon as Spurs lost 2-1 at home to West Ham United. He sent us his thoughts.
Well, I am absolutely speechless leaving that stadium. An absolutely unthinkable result going into this game. You know, West Ham, a club that are 7 points adrift going into it. Tottenham at home. Unthinkable that we could possibly lose this game, but we have. Performance deserved it as well. At half-time, it could have been 3-0 down. I read that it was West Ham's best XG in an away game since August at half-time, and that was only at half-time too. Another absolutely horrendous result for Thomas Frank, and he might not survive this one. I would struggle to see how anyone could watch this at the moment and think that Thomas Frank deserves to be manager of this football club. Before kick-off, change to Tottenham stood outside the ground, demanding a better football club. And, you know, the end result of today shows that we are so far behind what we were promised. An absolutely unthinkable result, and I can't believe it.
That's Billy T from the Hometown Glory podcast. Paul Mortimer, our co-commentator, watching alongside Nick Godwin there this afternoon. Still it is at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I mean, Paul, Billy talking about it feeling untenable for the current manager. Can't put up with watching that. An unthinkable result, losing at home to West Ham United, who the only other manager that they've beaten away from home, West Ham, so far this season, is the current West Ham United manager. Nottingham Forest, that's their only other away win. They've gone to Spurs, who seem to be a bit better in the second half by getting back on level terms, but it's now become outcomes become important, not sort of mitigations, excuses and whatever. We can all look at the state of the squad, we can all look about the standards. You know, he hasn't got certain players available, Thomas Frank, but I mean, that's a result that's almost was unthinkable before kick-off, and now Spurs fans are having to come to terms with it, Mort.
Well, for me, having sort of reflected on it now, the things that I think got to the Spurs fans was the lack of urgency.
Yep.
You know, you're the home side, and there were spells where Vicario catches it from a set piece, he's running to the edge of the box, and now he's looking to actually distribute it. There is no Spurs player up front showing for the ball or looking for it, and he's got the ball in his hands and he wants to distribute it forward, and it's not happening. There's times where he's got it at the back, it goes to Romero, back to him, it goes to Spence, back to him. Now what they're looking for is people moving in front of them. I'm watching it, everyone is standing like statues. The problem you have when you're in this situation, when you're lacking confidence, is you're hoping one of your other players that someone else will pull it out the fire, because you don't feel confident enough to do it yourself. And that's what it looked like. There were players hoping that maybe Xavi Simons might do something, or Odegaard or Tell might do something and bring it out, but it just was not going to happen today. And West Ham sensed it, to be truthfully honest, and I mean, you can't play as poorly as Spurs did in the first half and expect to get anything out of a game. You really can't. And you know, sometimes in a team game you realise the other team aren't at it. And I think West Ham realised that. Krasenko Somerville, I've got to say, you know, in the first half, his running with the ball caused no amount of problems. And it was good to see him score, actually. It took a deflection off Van der Ven, but to see him score. But I've not seen Spurs play as poorly as they did in the first half. No direction, there was no urgency, very little quality. And I actually thought there'd be 3 or 4 substitutions at half-time. He could have taken his pick, to be honest, but he didn't.
We'll get on to West Ham in a minute, Morts, because this is a really, really big result off the back of that FA Cup victory against QPR last week in extra time. This is a huge way to follow that up. But from Spurs' point of view, they started so poorly against Aston Villa last time out in the FA Cup and improved second half, but the damage was done with the way they played first half. You can't keep starting games badly and slowly. How much responsibility is that then therefore down to the leadership, the coaching, the way the players are set up?
Well, who creates the mindset? Because this is about the mindset. Because they started so it's the mindset you have. Sometimes players are sort of over that and go off too quickly, but this is about, you're playing West Ham. They've got a terrible away record, okay?
Terrible record, yeah.
You now have to get after them. The first thing you do is you get after them and you make them, doubt themselves and you put them under pressure. That just didn't happen. They started so easy. For me, be direct. Put it in their box, put it around them, go and play knockdown football. But they didn't do that, Spurs. They just allowed West Ham to play themselves into the game. And you're watching it and you're just thinking, run and compete and shut people down. And they just didn't. That's the thing for me. Put the quality and all of that, you expect them to play to one side. The minimum you expect is for them to run about and compete and close people down and shut them down. And that you just didn't see in the first half. You just didn't see it, and it was like they looked like 11 strangers who met in a car park and said, "Do you fancy a kickabout? Come on, put these white shirts on." It felt like that, and West Ham recognised it, and West Ham realised, "Hang about, this is a game we could win. They're terrible. We should be able to win this." But West Ham being West Ham, you could see, how long it took them to realise that.
How much is this, though, Thomas Frank's responsibility? I mean, he will pay the price ultimately, because that's what happens when you're the head coach. But we've talked about this on BBC Radio London, on Total Sport, quite a lot. That squad's not very good. That's over a number of years that's been allowed to wither away as far as the quality of the squad. Just picture in your mind, Paul, and Spurs fans and everyone else, the team and the squad that got, I know it's a long time ago, 6.5 years or 6.5 years ago, to the Champions League final, and it's just a shadow of that now with what they've got in their team.
Yes, and who's responsible for that? Thomas Frank is not responsible for that. The manager can only do so much. He's been left with a group of players, quite frankly, that are not good enough. They're just not good enough at the moment, and they're not playing well enough at the moment. One or two who you Van der Vens and people like that. Archie Gray was brilliant today, and I can only assume that he was injured. I can only assume, because he's one who should never have been coming off. He was trying to drive the team forward. He was trying to drive a team where there weren't enough people who really wanted to get on the bus to get with him, and that was the problem. So no, you can see that there's if you look at that team that you spoke about and the team today, you can see the decline in whoever does the recruiting. Honestly, they've just bought players. Odegaard and Tell coughed up possession so often and so easily. Xavi Simons has been disappointing as well. He's a good player who just may not have the physicality to manage Premier League football. It just feels like that, getting caught on the ball. People are running past him. Not good enough.
Is Thomas in trouble, though? I mean, having said all that, he is still responsible to set up a team that the minimum would be the effort and the intensity right from the get-go. And if it's not happening, that worries people. I've known Thomas a long time. I like Thomas. I'll front up. I like, and what he did with Brentford was fantastic. Is he in trouble at Spurs, do you think, Paul?
with performances like this, most definitely. And I love Thomas Frank. I've been fortunate enough to be around Brentford when he was there. He is a lovely man, and he's a good manager, by the way. For me, he's a very good manager who has come into a situation where he needs time. But are they going to be able to give him that time? I'm not so sure, because he needs to put his stamp on it, and he hasn't been given long enough. And then you think about it, you think about the players he started without, and the players he's losing. It's like he's losing a player every week, and a prominent player. Archie Graham to go off this week. Richarlison went off last week. He's losing players. He's never had Maddison or Kulusevski, who was huge for them last year. He's missed Solanke for a lot of the time. Udogie, he's just lost, and the problem he has half a dozen players similar. Odobert Tell, I think Xavi Simons. They're all very, very slight and all similar in their play. And if they're not clicking, for me, you're carrying 3 passengers.
Yeah.
And that's the problem you got. Today was going to be attritional. It was going to be one of those where you stick your foot in, you have to match them, and they didn't have enough on the pitch to do that, Spurs. Until they get desperate. In the end, you get desperate and you take risks. Up until then, Spurs, West Ham could have been out of sight with the chances they had. And this is West Ham we're talking about, with respect, who have not been great this season.
Well, they've not won since, this is their first league win, isn't it, since November?
Exactly.
They won back-to-back games against Newcastle and Burnley, and they haven't won since then, and then suddenly they've gone and won this one. Let's just hear from a couple of West Ham fans then, shall we? Happy Hour, Ian Morris has sent us this. Harry Morris has sent us this.
Get in there! Come on, you Lions! What a win! What an absolute brilliant performance from the boys. Oh, God, best performance of the season by far. I mean, the boys put in a shift. They got stuck in there. They was up for the fight, something we haven't seen in past weeks. But, I mean, what a win. I mean, to do it at Spurs, last minute, Callum Wilson, give that man a 5-year contract right now. He is not going anywhere. Mr. Callum Wilson, super Callum Wilson. West Ham, we're staying up. We are staying up, so we are staying up.
Zahib Rashid is another Hammers fan. He's from Desi Ballers.
There's only one thing I wanted on my birthday. New car, new clothes, cake. No. 3 points at Tottenham Hotspur. And guess what? The boys delivered. Started well. Great first half. All the boys were on it. Fantastic goal from Somerville. Some good saves from Mariola as well. Second half, it looked a bit techie. And do you know what? When they scored, I'm thinking, a point. It's not going to help us, but we'll take a point. I was confident in the boys, and we do like a late goal at the stadium as well. Think back to Lanzini all those years ago. Well, now Callum Wilson comes on, first touch, gets the corner, second touch, gets the goal. What a win. 3 points. Spurs fans, it's happened again. It's happened again. Come on, you Irons!
Well, you mentioned in there Callum Wilson, who was the match winner, scoring that late winner for West Ham United against Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. He's just been speaking to Jason Mohammed on Final Score.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks guys. Obviously delighted to help the team get 3 points, and thankfully it was a much needed win.
How much heart did you have to show in that game today, Callum?
Yeah, the boys were fantastic throughout. I think obviously we changed it a little bit today with 2 strikers up front. They caused problems. There was chances in the first half. We probably should have went a couple more in front. But I think the way that the season's been going, we knew that we needed to score a second goal, and thankfully we got that at the end.
Yeah, you might have seen that Vicario was asking for a foul. Never in doubt?
No, because I think sometimes, if you're standing there, the goalkeepers are pushing you. So all I did was stood my ground and sniffed out the goal as I've done throughout my career.
And also, what's the feeling like within the squad? Because, lots of pundits, there are lots of people phoning in radio shows saying West Ham United look doomed. What's the atmosphere like within the club?
Yeah, within the club, the boys are training great. There's a mentality to get out of the situation. There's a lot of Premier League experience in the dressing room as well, and mixed with young players that we're all learning together. And I think, internally, there's that belief there, and outside noise is outside noise.
Morts, we've heard from a couple of Hammers fans there, and obviously Callum Wilson. That's back-to-back wins. I mean, they did that obviously in the league wins with Newcastle and Burnley. The FA Cup is one thing, took extra time. Today, I mean, that's quite a, I don't know, momentum booster, momentum shifter to get a win against Tottenham Hotspur. And okay, let's see what happens in the late game. But Nottingham Forest, if Arsenal were to get the win that they are so desirous of, to go 9 points clear at the top of the table, Nottingham Forest are only going to be 4 points away from them. I mean, that loss to Forest now looks like such a huge defeat, but actually they've still given themselves a chance.
Spot on. Exactly. They have given themselves a chance. That's all they can do. Now it's not even about performances. It's just about results, and it's just about registering 3 points as much as they can. And they're going to hope Arsenal do them a favour today. But then when you look at what they've got coming up as well, from what I can see, Sunderland at home, Chelsea, Burnley, Man United. So there's a couple there. Well, there's one there that's winnable, which is Burnley.
Yeah.
They've got to get something from the other three. They have to. They're in that position where they have to nick something. First things first, be hard to beat.
Yeah.
They've won 2 on the bounce. Now they're beginning to know how to win. And that's the thing. It's about winning games and registering 3 points and getting through the next round of competition. So they've done that the last 2 games. The old adage, you're only as good as your last game. Well, they're only good as their last 2 games, and they've won them both. And that should give them confidence, so that if they go a goal down in the next game, the confidence to actually be able to carry on and believe you can go and score and win, because that's what they need.
Well, yeah, exactly. And you just get a sense. I mean, Nuno's getting his way. He's getting the players that he maybe wants or is being advised. He's also got his first team coach in there, so I don't think he's going anywhere, which obviously maybe gives the players a bit of confidence as well, doesn't it? I can't see him being sacked.
Well, while they're winning, no. While they're winning, no. But if they go on a run like they have been in terms of losing games, well, you never really can tell. I mean, if you think about other managers that have lost their jobs recently, some of them have been for less defeats. So it's a really difficult one. But the teams that do well are the ones that trust and believe in their managers, even when things aren't going well. And that's the thing. I mean, if you look at West Ham, but also Spurs, critical moments they're at where they've got to make decisions. Do they trust in their manager? Because you know what, they spent a lot to bring him here. He's had half a season if you're lucky. Do you trust in your manager? This is where it matters. And changing him now would cause more problems than not. But it's down to if you have faith. If you have faith in your manager, keep him. If you don't have faith in him, then I'd rather have the reserve team manager come in and do it, if I've not got faith in the guy in charge.
Yeah.
It's difficult though.
It is difficult. Morts, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Have a nice
Excellent
evening.
stuff as ever. Have a great rest of your weekend. Regards to you and the rest of the Mortimers. West Ham against Sunderland next week, by the way, 12:30 kickoff. We'll have that on BBC Radio London. Listen, they're going to be here the weekend after against Chelsea. I wasn't that impressed. I didn't think Chelsea were that good, that strong. Brentford should have got something out of this game. If West Ham United go into that with momentum, you never know. We used to call it the District Line Derby. It's not anymore, is it, really? Because the London Stadium's not on the District Line, unfortunately, or fortunately, depends which way you look at it. It's on the Elizabeth Line. Which one it's working is absolutely great. Now, next up, Sunderland for West Ham, who today have beaten Crystal Palace, despite the Eagles taking the lead up there at the Stadium of Light. Oliver Glasner has had 1 or 2 interesting things to say post-match.
Disappointing result after a very difficult few days.
Yes. Difficult result, difficult for me to accept, not because of the performance. I think 50-60 minutes performance was well. Then we had 15-20 minutes where we were under pressure, we conceded a goal. Players tried everything until the end. They're leaving the heart on the pitch, but we feel that we are being abandoned completely, and selling our captain one day before a Premier League game. No understanding. We're playing with 12-13 players from our original squad for weeks now, and then that makes it so tough to accept this defeat, because the players they gave everything, and we had no substitution. I was looking on the bench, just kids there, and that's how it is. That's, I think, why we are where we are. And if your heart gets torn out twice a season, one day before a game, so with Eze in summer and with your captain now, I've just completely no understanding.
That's a strong word, abandoned. Do you feel that you're being let down by the club at the moment? And what does that mean for your position?
The players, I think, yes, not me. You know, it's not Oliver Glasner. I'm not playing. I think the players deserve more support. Yes, exactly. That's what they deserve. That we can work. Yeah? If a player gets fatigued, another one can come in. Yeah, who can help winning a game? So when I look, nobody who was sitting on the bench has Premier League experience. Nobody has played in this atmosphere. And then it's just, if we do it, make a substitution to make a substitution is just hope. Yeah? And this is, this group of players, but it just shows what is the ambition. Yeah? If we feel 28 points, we will get these 10 points to not get relegated. Yes, you can act like this. And this is my feeling, that it's now, we're fine, we're in the Conference League, let's see how far it goes. And then, points is fine and we won't get relegated and it's all good. And this is when I see the players, what they are investing, when I see my staff, what they are investing, then it just feels, it would be nice if we get more support, definitely, yes.
So a team that's won the FA Cup and has qualified for Europe should be showing more support?
No, it shows your ambition. If you find to not get relegated, it's okay, you can act like this.
Fascinating. Matt Lockwood's been watching. Emma Jones in conversation there with Oliver Glasner. The pair of them are still at the commentary point. They're high up in the sky. Must feel like somewhere in Scotland, back home, Matt, to be perfectly honest. Not happy, Oliver Glasner. Emma, Matt.
He was absolutely livid, Phil. I mean, he was shaking with anger. And I went on to ask him about Mark Gahey. I said, do you think you missed him today? And he said, well, I was told that he was being sold at 10:30 on the day before a football match. I also said to him, was that the reason why you then decided to make the decision that you made to tell us what the club already knew, or what he said that they knew in October, which was that he was not going to be signing a new contract? And then I said to him, if you're telling us this, if he's sharing this with journalists today, you're aware that you're telling this to, the club's owners. Exactly. And he said, I've been telling them this for months. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Matt, we spoke, didn't we? I mean, you were speaking before the game to us and to Paul Mortimer, and saying, look, that this isn't something new. I mean, his frustrations, I think, are boiling over. He said he's not going to stay beyond the summer. At this rate, he might not stay much longer.
Well, that was the feeling in the press box here after the game. They thought that was a bit of a statement, the fact he didn't make any substitutions today. It looked like he was sort of trying to say, I haven't got any options. It's not fair. And then for him to then come and double down on what he said yesterday, to then really do that. And we've seen it in the past. We saw Amorim a couple of weeks ago when he did that. He was gone virtually the next day.
Enzo Maresca here at Chelsea.
Exactly, that's the thing, and owners don't like that. Okay, if a manager decides he wants to leave, fine. He doesn't extend his contract. Everyone does that, and they move on to pastures new. But when they then go this sort of severe and really criticise them by saying, look, we won the FA Cup, we're in Europe, and we still get left, hung out to dry. I can't see that relationship being fixed anytime soon.
He didn't have anything on the bench, though, Phil. Really, it was some kids. Uche was the most attacking player on that bench. He had two goalkeepers on that bench. The players that Crystal Palace are missing at the moment, the likes of Muniz, Sarr, Kamada and Ketia, on top of the fact that they've just sold their captain, did mean that Oliver Glasner had run out of options, really. So I don't think he was necessarily not bringing a player on because he was trying to make a point, Matt, but I completely understand that. But I think he was basically like, what have I got to play with here? I've got a load of kids.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, Canvo has been, he's still young and he's been a liability at times. Drake's Thomas, Young, Imre, Remy Matthews, Riyad, Sosa, Uche. He's not. I don't know how keen he's been on some of these players that he's actually had available. So I understand that, and I think the frustration has maybe been boiling over. I mean, the whole thing has been. I mean, it's gone from we'll talk about it again. We've talked about it. The 17th of May last year, winning the FA Cup, greatest moment in the club's history, greatest moment for all those fans who were celebrating in tears. It was just a historic moment. But from that moment on, virtually winning the Community Shield, brilliant. But from that moment on, the whole, are they in the Europa League? Are they not in the Europa League? Just done. John Textor have control of the club? Does he not have control of the club? Who is going to buy it from him? Can they do that early? Should they have done that before? Should they have realised when they were if they're going to make progress in the FA Cup, they should have seen that there was going to be a potential problem. Then going into the season, the signings weren't very, the summer before he was unhappy with the signings made. This summer he's been unhappy. He doesn't seem to be that keen on some of the younger players that have been brought in. The whole thing, it's almost as if we've been watching. You remember, for those old enough, obviously not you two, remember Mount St Helens, right, when you're kids, right? When we were kids, I remember watching this bulge on the side of a mountain, right, in North America, getting bigger and bigger, and boom, it eventually, as a volcano, exploded. I think, if we actually sort of use a bit of hindsight here, what's happened over the last, well, let's say not getting knocked out of the FA Cup, let's say, the recent run of results, let's say what happened yesterday has probably been predictable that we'd get to this point. And I asked Matt, didn't I, before the start of the day, could this really implode and lead to a real problem for the rest of the season? And it seems like it could, Matt.
After that interview, then yes. I mean, if you just go off the back of the performance, I thought Palace were okay today. Defensively they look solid. I don't think it wasn't noticeable that they missed Mark Gahey. Obviously they're going to, because he's a great player and he's the captain and he's a leader. But I thought the back three did really well. They look solid, they look organised, and they were working well together. I don't think that they looked like they weren't trying. I don't think they deserve to lose, to be fair. I mean, obviously, they conceded sort of 2 soft-ish goals, but it was a fairly even game at a tough place to come and play. So from a football perspective, I don't think anything that's happened over the last day or two has affected that result. Obviously, having your captain playing could have potentially stopped one of the goals or whatever. Fine. But now that Glasner's done this, now he's really lit the touch paper, isn't he? And I can't see how that's going to get resolved unless they just get rid, because they're not going to bring anyone in, are they? They haven't got, if they were planning on strengthening the squad in the window, they'd have probably done it by now. As he said, Mark Gahey got sold from under him yesterday at 10:30, so that's going to have annoyed him. And you look at we go back to the bench today. I mean, I've written the ages down there. You've got lads that are 22 years old. They're not young. I mean, I made my debut at 19. By the time I was 22, I'd probably played 150 games. So
but how experienced are they, Matt? That's the thing.
Yeah, of course. But then if you're not going to put them on the pitch, they're not going to get experience, are they? So they haven't got Premier League experience. But then you sit them there for 90 minutes. Stick them on for 20 minutes or half an hour. Yeah. Do something. They can run around. They can make a difference. I get what you're saying. I get that they're not proven Premier League players like other clubs have got. And that, when Palace played at Newcastle the other day, they make 3 substitutions. You're like, wow, these 3 players would start in most Premier League teams. Okay, Palace haven't got that, but sometimes you sort of you've got injuries, you've got other reasons why people aren't playing, so just make do with what you've got and give those boys confidence, because for me, the players now sitting on the bench, they're going to look at it and be like, well, the manager doesn't fancy me, he doesn't think I'm good enough to play in the Premier League, so what am I wasting my time?
Any predictions, either of you, about what may happen next in this, what's now becoming a bit of a soap opera?
I mean, for me, depending on if Crystal Palace had a game plan or could see this coming, and they maybe have got an idea of who they'd want as a replacement for him, I think they'd be up in their search immediately, and I can't see him seeing the week out personally.
No, I don't know. Maybe do what Man United have done and sort of bring in somebody who can just steady the ship until the end of the season, I guess. But I mean, strong words. I mean, he said we've been abandoned. We're not being supported. And he's saying, it's the players who are suffering. And I suppose the club as a result of that. So
maybe
he's basically saying, I've had enough.
Well, it very much sounds like it. Yeah.
And it sounds as if it sounds to me, reading between the lines, that he probably wasn't going to tell us that he wasn't going to renew his contract until much later in this season. But I think what happened yesterday made him decide, I'm going to announce now that I'm not staying after the end of this season.
And then he didn't want to get so angry yesterday, day before a game, because that is unprofessional and it wouldn't have been fair on the players today. But now the game's finished, he can then let loose and tell us what he's thinking.
I do think that maybe he felt almost obliged to go public with his future, because he was just going to get asked about it, so he might as well go public and say, well, look, yes, I'm going to go as well, but what that has unleashed, we'll continue to monitor. But wow, that's a hugely significant interchange between yourself, Emma, and Oliver Glasner. I think if your journey up north with Palace fans was interesting, Emma, you may be quizzed quite significantly on the way back.
I might have to share a Stella. Other beers are available.
I'm glad I'm going the other way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you might. Thanks so much, Matt. Thanks, Emma, for that. Oliver Glasner leaving no one in any doubt about his feelings after that defeat today, but also everything that's been going on at the football club. The story is yet to be concluded. Arsenal at Nottingham Forest, by the way, 0-0. Early exchanges in that game. Forest have had an effort, but it was not on target. It's BBC Radio London. It's Total Sport until 6 o'clock. Don't forget, at 8, BBC Introducing with Jess is at 6 o'clock. It's Upload with Alice Dale, and it's coming up to 5:45 right now.
I descend in silence, covering the world in ice and snow. I freeze your roads, darken your skies, and summon the storm. I am stillness. I am wild. I am unstoppable. I am winter.
Yellow weather warning for London.
Rain, sleet, and some snow.
Gonna be a cold night. Face the season prepared.
BBC Radio London.
BBC Radio London. It's Total Sport. We're at Stamford Bridge, where the mowers are out. There's a couple of pigeons. There's a chap doing some sort of filming himself, talking, I'm assuming, to some people that will listen. I'm not quite sure why. Who knows? It's going to go on social media. He might get 3,000 likes. He might just get his mum giving him a thumbs up on TikTok. Who knows what he's doing out on the pitch? Let's hope it's the former. Not that I don't want his mum to give him a thumbs up, but let's hope it's like lots and lots of likes rather than his mum going, yeah, that was lovely, son. Right, I'll tell you whose mum or lots of mums will be happy. It will be West Ham United supporters' mums today, because they've beaten Tottenham Hotspur by 2 goals. It's been a long day. By 2 goals. We started in a cemetery, didn't we, really? Let's face it. At Brompton Cemetery. 2-1. Late winner from Callum Wilson, beating Tottenham Hotspur this afternoon. Let's get the thoughts of a victorious Hammers manager, Nuno Espirito Santo.
It means a lot. It means a lot for our fans that were there pushing and cheering. It means a lot. It means a lot for us, for them. Special to do it in the last moments of the game, because we've been on the other side so many times this season that it really feels good.
What was the most pleasing aspect of the performance for you today?
I think we started really well. The way we were in the pitch, organised, not allowing Spurs to go easy, always trying to press, always trying to recover. And when we had the ball, we had good chances, good combinations. I said first half we played really good football.
What does it say about the character that you've got in the dressing room? Because after that Forest defeat, things were looking quite bleak in terms of the table, but you look like a team who still believe that you can get out of this.
Yeah, we believe, and we have to worry about ourselves. We have to work harder, to commit more, but I'm really proud of the way the players have been dealing with this situation. It's a tough one. So every day is important, and they are committed to try and turn it around.
2 away wins for West Ham United. One of them was against Nuno Espirito Santo, and then today against one of his former clubs. It's very confusing. It almost feels like a EastEnders script, if you saw what I mean. But what's going on from that point of view? But a win for West Ham United. depending on what Nottingham Forest do. They'll be hoping now, the Hammers fans, that Arsenal fans can get a win at Nottingham Forest, and it keeps Forest within touching distance. Sunderland next up, next Saturday lunchtime, live on BBC Radio London, Total Sport live on DAB digital radio. Here at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea have made it their first home win since the middle of December. A 2-0 victory against Brentford, 2 shots on target. First from João Pedro in the first half after a clearance ricocheted back into his path, and he lashed it home. The second, a penalty from Cole Palmer after Liam Delap had been fouled by Caoimhin Kelleher. Brentford should have got something out of the game, really. They had quite a lot of chances. Let's get the thoughts of Chelsea fan from Gold Diggers podcast, Tima Nichols. She sent us her thoughts.
So Liam Rosinia gets his first 3 points at Stamford Bridge, his first home game in the Premier League. Let's be honest, it wasn't a great performance from Chelsea, and I think on another day Brentford maybe could have won the game comfortably. I think Sanchez made up for his mistakes in midweek and really kept Chelsea in the game, and also some really good blocks from Chalobah and Reece James. I think obviously it's really hard circumstances that the team came into this game. They had obviously protests before, the atmosphere was slightly flat, and I think morale around the club is in all-time highs. It's pretty bad, but they got over the line, and that's the most important thing. And let's see if they can build on this in terms of the Champions League on Wednesday.
Paphos here on Wednesday night in the Champions League for Chelsea as well. So it's 2 wins for Liam Rosinia and a defeat, of course, to Arsenal in the first leg of their semi-final in the League Cup, beating Charlton last week, and a win today against Brentford. Here's the thoughts of the victorious Blues boss, Liam Rosinia.
Yeah, in terms of our football and our possession, we can improve. In terms of our resilience, defending the box, pressing, energy, commitment, very, very happy with the players today. So a lot of improvements to make. The most important thing is that we win the game. Delighted with the clean sheet. I think that's the first time in 8 or 9 games the lads have got a clean sheet. So it gives us a foundation to build on.
Your goalkeeper came in for some criticism in the week, so you must have been delighted today with how he responded.
Fantastic response from him. Outstanding performance, some great saves, the way he claimed the ball in the box. Rob is world class in terms of his goalkeeping, in terms of taking crosses, in terms of making saves. I've known him since he was 17 years old. I know his character, he's resilient, and I'm delighted for him and all the players that they got their clean sheet today.
Was it hard to watch at times, because Brentford did have a lot of opportunities which they didn't take today?
They did from a set play. I was disappointed in the first half, and at the end of the first half we are in control of the game. We don't manage the game well to half time. They have another chance, got in, Rob makes a great save on a 1v1, but Ali Garnacho on another day scores an open goal. Look, they're a good team. They were 5th in the league when we played against them, but I was really, really happy with the fact I changed the shape second half and the lads saw the game out in a really professional way.
Meantime, there was some disappointment for the Brentford boss, Keith Andrews.
Old adage, Keith, in the game, you don't take your chances, you don't win football matches.
Yeah, pretty good assessment. Just weren't clinical enough with the opportunities we had. Didn't give up too much, really, the other end. Just really pleased with performance levels, barring that little bit that you've alluded to. We should have and could have taken enough from what we created, really. Performance levels were high, really high. The growth of the team is, I think, is there for everybody to see. So a lot to be happy with, barring the result, really.
The first goal, I know it was tight, the offside decision went against you for João Pedro's goal, but you can't be happy with the defending that just led up to that.
I just think it was a moment of not panic, but finding that balance between calmness to play out of pressure, or do we miss it out and play off our front boys. And I think we got that quite right. And then, listen, Ricochet is pretty nicely, and it's a good finish from their perspective. But from our point of view, obviously, we were disappointed with it.
Yeah, ended a good run from Brentford. This first defeat in a little while, here by 2-0. Still 7th in the table, 33 points after 22 games. It's still pretty impressive from the Bees, but Chelsea have gone above them by 1 point into 6th. Manchester United, with a win against Manchester City earlier today, are 5th in the table, and Liverpool, who got a point in the end at home to Burnley. It's 4 straight draws in the Premier League for Arne Slot's team. I mean, they're not going to defend the Premier League title. they may get into the Champions League, but goodness gracious me, different season from last season, isn't it? Let's face it, for Liverpool. Good news today for Millwall. Had to work hard, 0-0 at half-time, but second half with a couple of goals, seeing off Watford. Did the Lions this afternoon. A really impressive victory, because Watford had started the day in 6th, and of course Millwall had started the day in 5th. The Lions, as a consequence, now up to 4th, and Watford dropping out of the top 6. Here's the thoughts of Nick Hart from Achtung Millwall.
A really professional performance by Alex Neil's Lions. I thought that was a magnificent show this afternoon by Millwall. Watford, let's not forget, came into the game, as a form side, well rated. I think 4 league wins on the spin, and the Lions absolutely devastated. Put them to the sword. A great first half. I think Millwall probably would have felt we'd had opportunities to score in that first period, which we didn't take. Sometimes that can come back and bite you on the bum. But second half, after a little bit of an early flurry for Watford, where we started to see something of the Watford that I anticipated, driving up to the Vicarage Road Stadium this afternoon. But after that initial part of the second half, I thought the Lions really took control. Magnificent goal from Premier Aziz. I was down the other end of the pitch, couldn't quite see enough of it. It looked like a good slap shot from the edge of the 6-yard box into the net. Put us 1-0, and then a really nicely finished move for the second from Josh Coburn.
Yeah, 4th in the table, fantastic. 46 points, unbeaten in 5, 3 wins in that time for Millwall. Good momentum, just 3 points off Middlesbrough, who were second in the table. Coventry on 55 points at this moment in time. Ipswich just above the Lions. QPR are still 11th. They are injury ravaged, but a big point at Stoke today, keeping Stoke potentially out of the top 6 as well. 0-0, and a big win for Charlton this afternoon, beating 9-man Sheffield United by a 1-0. The Addicts now on 32 points. They are 8 points clear of the bottom 3 as a consequence of that. Right, elsewhere today, Fulham have been beaten at Leeds United. A very late goal for Leeds, who have been improving over the last couple of months under their manager Daniel Farke. Here's the thoughts of the Fulham head coach Marco Silva.
First half was balanced, not one team or the other on the front foot, not one team with more command than the other. I think was balanced. We had our moments there as well, but not clear chances for any team really, apart from one with Harrison after a first and second ball fight, and he had one moment with Leno. Apart from that, nothing. Second half, we didn't play at our best level. Definitely, we didn't reach the standards that we wanted to play, and because that, I have to say that Leeds deserved the 3 points.
Marco, honest, saying that Leeds deserved the 3 points here. They're putting the grass recovery lights on here at Stamford Bridge, and they're a really shocking shade of pink. Brilliant, like that. That's very nightclub-esque. Nathan's going to be skipping down there in a minute. He's going to get his light fandango on, I would have thought. Someone who hasn't got a light fandango, I would have thought it's more of a frown. Thomas Frank, the Tottenham Hotspur manager, a 2-1 home defeat at the hands of West Ham United, who hadn't won since early November in the Premier League. Let's get the thoughts of the Spurs boss.
It's not a nice feeling to go out with, but I understand frustration. I completely understand the frustration. We are losing to a big London rival. There's nothing worse. And do it in the last minute. And of course, we couldn't win at home, which we do very, very hard. We work very, very hard to try to do that. And I think, and hopefully they can see the effort from the boys. They're working very hard. They did everything right in the second half. Right now, we are in that spell where everything you put one foot right and it should have been left, and the other way around.
I've read a report saying some of the home fans were singing "You're going to get sacked in the morning," which can't be nice for you. And are you concerned about your position at all?
I am feeling the absolute backing from everyone here at the club. Everyone want the same thing, long-term success. We're doing a lot of things right behind the scenes. We just don't get the results, which is super crucial and important. So we just keep going.
Well, he feels like he's getting the support, Nick Godwin, but I mean there were loud boos at the end of the first half, trailing by a 1-0. Did get themselves back on level terms thanks to Christian Romero in the second half, but then obviously that was a bit of a sucker punch late on from Callum Wilson. We've heard from Spurs fans already this evening, Nick. I mean, some of them are becoming a little bit I think it's fair to say, if not some of them, quite a lot of them are becoming a little concerned about the current regime, both on and off the pitch, both in the coaching setup but also in the boardroom.
Well, there was a protest, wasn't there, at 2 o'clock down the high road. A number of people brought some banners into the ground as well to make their point. Tom, I've just spoken to Thomas Frank, just heard what he's had to say about the day. Frustrated, obviously, but you know, he says that, as we've just heard, that he thinks the club's going in the right direction and he will have time to sort things out. I would say that time that he has is shrinking so much that it may have run out. I mean, Spurs were bad in the first half, recovered, and then allowed themselves to be rolled over with a really rubbishy goal at the end from Callum Wilson. It may be a case of when. Can you fire a manager 2 days before a Champions League game? Probably not. But I think the time is running out. I really do. And that's not a criticism of Thomas Frank, who may well have been dealt too difficult a hand here, given the players he's got. Some of them simply are not good enough, Phil. And I've played this tune for a while now, and some people have been reluctant to get on board. But you see the way they play today against a very, very average West Ham team. Not trying to be too disparaging about West Ham. They deserve to win today, and it might turn their season around. But West Ham aren't very good. You know that. We watched them against Wolves. They're really quite poor. And they really, really stretched Tottenham to breaking point today. Two poor sides. One, sadly, worse than the other.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who would come in and do much better, but that's not always.
What has happened to Thomas Frank's reputation? What has happened to Thomas Frank's reputation? It's been ruined in 6 months. If you were a promising manager, would you come here?
No, I mean, he could rebuild it if he were to leave, I suppose. It's a good point. But that club has seen off a number of good managers now. Yeah, absolutely. And someone will take the job because they always do. But if you've got a reputation, would you put it on the line at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium at the moment? I'm not sure I would. No. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Nick, thank you so much indeed. Nick Godwin with his comments there for Tottenham Hotspur after their 2-1 home defeat to West Ham United, only their second away win of the campaign. First clean sheet for a while, and their first win at home for a while for Chelsea, who beat Brentford here today at Stamford Bridge by 2-0. Arsenal 0-0 still with Nottingham Forest in the Premier League, and Crystal Palace beaten away at Sunderland. But Oliver Glasner saying that those in charge are letting the players down and letting the fans down. He seems as if he's not going to wait till the summer necessary to get out. Fulham lost away at Leeds United as well. A big win for Millwall away at Watford. QPR with a 0-0 draw at Stoke, and a big victory for Charlton Athletic home to Sheffield United in League One. That was much improved from Leyton Orient getting a big win. Don Bollard with a hat-trick, but defeat late on for AFC Wimbledon. A draw for Bromley at Chesterfield, but they stay top of the table, and a loss for Barnet at Grimsby. A huge thanks to the team back at base, Andrew Ragnar Wright and Davy Bird and Lauren Moore. Huge thanks to everyone who's been out and about reporting for us as well this afternoon and since lunchtime. Don't forget, it's 8 o'clock where you can get Introducing with Jess is at. But first up on BBC Radio London, Upload with Alice Dale at 6 o'clock.
BBC Upload.
BBC Upload.
It really does give you some confidence, and that's priceless for the next story, the next poem.
Thank you so much. Honestly, that means so much to all of us.
Upload is a great way to reach a new audience with my spoken word poetry.
The best in new comedy, poetry and spoken word.
Hello. Alice Dale here with BBC Upload on BBC Radio London, your creative hub, where you get all of the juice from creatives from across London. You submit your work to us and we platform it across the BBC. And I have many new faces and returning voices, I suppose, for you on the other side. And this is very much a season of duos this week. Shortly, I will be joined by two men that individually submitted to BBC Upload. I happened to bring them into the studio at the same time, and we just had some good fun, good times. So I thought, as my first chat with them, for 2026. Let's get them back. Let's have a chat. We always have so much fun, and they've got some poetry to perform for you as well, which is always very exciting. In the green room this week, I'm going to be joined by two girlies who are taking girl power to a whole new level, especially through the world of broadcasting. They are the first digital journalists and creators to be behind the scenes on I'm a Celeb, and they've got a podcast that's coming back too. So I'm very excited to sit down and talk to them about the green flags of friendship, the red flags of friendship, and what are some friendship icks, and rewinding back to their early days in community radio together. Very exciting stuff. That is all coming up. And remember that if you've got something that you're sitting on creatively, it's bbc.co.uk/upload to get it sent to me. You never know, it might get platformed across the BBC. Post Malone now on BBC Upload.